required to support that public good, and in that case, appropriate the funds to the Postal Service.
U.S. Postal Service is having a money.
And good morning, good morning. The time is Delta time. Of course, it's 9:13. We are up live on Facebook. Be sure to like the WVON page, interact with me. I'll be sure to talk back with you. If you like to keep with me exclusively, be sure to follow me across all social media platforms at Follow Cleopatra. Listen, guys, be sure to like and subscribe to my new YouTube channel. Check it out at the Cleopatra Show. I keep wanting to say Follow Cleopatra. Well, more importantly, we're going to talk dollars and cents. It's a turbulent Tuesday. Can you imagine flying on this kind of Tuesday? You certainly wouldn't imagine flying on Spirit. That's for sure. Yeah, that's right. I am pointing dead at the administration for pretty much allowing that entity to collapse. That did happen. But that is not why it is exclusively a turbulent Tuesday. In the Evolution of Theory Tuesday, I thought I'd give birth to a new concept. For those of us that liked the promo, make sure you give Titus and I some love. That was a great collaboration because right now we're going to talk about the United States Postal Service. Oh, yeah. And who is going to join me shortly is the Marc Morial. That's right, President and CEO of the National Urban League. He wrote an exclusive and explosive piece in the Pittsburgh Courier. And I told you all, I read all across the spectrum. I truly do. I can't help it. I'm kind of addicted. But, in order to keep up with our take right here, the flavor and the sauce that allowed me to put a cap in what? Culture, arts, and politics. I have to be the enabler. So I have to be well-read because I'm definitely well-traveled and well-versed. And what I am here to share with you all that the United States Postal Service is doomed to go belly up. If you don't believe fat meat is greasy, you better ask Spirit. Did you ever thought you'll see a day that Spirit has come and went? And who was there to clean up the leftovers? United, Delta, American. They don't care. So at the end of the day, who's here to clean up behind the United States Postal Service, which is the eldest employer in America? And to whom do they employ? I want us to think about Black America, especially those that have climbed and sifted through what was once middle class to even upper class, but more importantly, elevating the class thereafter, generations that have become college educated based off the opportunities allotted via the United States Postal Service. And you're talking to a lineage descendant. My aunt was a postmaster. So I know a little something about what I'm talking about. And it matters to me because I know too many Black families that depend on that opportunity. But more importantly, and moreover, depend on their mail. Are you one of those families? 773-591-1690. Here it is, guys. What does it mean to exhaust funds? The Postal Service and its business model has been crippled. And it didn't just happen. And I will preface that. However, it has been on the incline for some while. And in Trump 1.0, we remember his goal was to privatize it then. So my question of the day is, would you pay for mail delivery? Would you? Because that is where we're headed. Just like you pay for subscriptions, would you pay for mail delivery? I want to know on the other side of this break, does it matter to you that you won't get your mail? But who does it matter to? I'm going to give you a little inkling. In this regime, this Trump administration, they are grasping for power. I mean, the power grab is immense, and we're going to talk about that throughout the day. However, what is in the mail that is so impotent that Trump don't want you to have? If you know the answer to that, you get extra credit. Now, if you're late, I want your tardy pass. We'll be back after this break.
More from Cleopatra coming up next on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
This is Rufus Williams, and I've got something special for you. I am proud to announce that we're launching the Rufus Williams Travel Club in conjunction with Advantage International. Our first trip, we're staying in the United States and heading to one of the most stunning destinations for culture, tourism. Join us October 8th through 12th as we explore the charm, and the history of Charleston, South Carolina. This isn't your typical getaway. We'll walk you through history and standing where our stories begin. From the roots of Gullah Geechee culture to the International African American Museum, from cobblestone streets to waterfront views. This is more than a trip. It's a cultural vibe. To find out more, visit WVON.com and click the Rufus Williams Travel Club banner. And keep listening for more details. The Rufus Williams Travel Club will turn curiosity into understanding, one destination at a time. We are WVON.
It's DL Hughley.
Nick Cannon's logic is as weak as his. Everybody fucking knew that Republicans freed the slaves. Everybody knew it. The last time they did something for black people was 163 years ago. You got to update your resume. Have a 5-year gap on your resume. See if it's valid. When Republicans did that, Hawaii wasn't a state. If you're going to talk about the greatest of a policy that helped black people out, it should at least be sometime after the fucking moon landing.
Weekdays at 5 a.m. on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Video gambling terminals aren't owned by us. They're owned by out-of-state corporations that have never invested in our neighborhoods or our families. They take the money, we take the hit. These machines kill union jobs and drain pension funds for first responders. These machines move in, crime goes up, break-ins rise. Our community pays the price. We deserve good union jobs, safer streets, and real investments that stay here and build something lasting. Tell City Council, repeal video gambling terminals. Paid for by Neighborhoods Safety First Association.
They call this one Bill.
Aliens? Am I in a spaceship?
Affirmative, Bill.
What's with the laser saw?
Relax. We are cutting our bill in half.
What?
An Xfinity mobile transmission says you can cut your bill in half.
Oh, your mobile bill, not me, Bill.
Xfinity Mobile also says we can try it free for a year. Free.
Yes, with no commitment. Can we put the saw away?
I am reluctant. But we will find another being to bisect.
That's not sci-fi. It's Xfinity Mobile. Xfinity Internet members cut your mobile bill in half. Plus, try Xfinity Mobile free for a year. No commitment. Learn more at xfinitymobile.com. Xfinity. Imagine that. Restrictions apply. Xfinity Internet required. Savings compares one line of Xfinity Mobile Select to comparable plans from T-Mobile, Verizon, and AT&T as of 3/24/26. Taxes, fees, extra. $30 monthly discount limited to new mobile customers only. After 12 months, regular rates apply.
WVON, traffic and weather now.
As you make your way along DuSable Drive, you do want to look out for an accident. It's northbound of Chicago Avenue. That accident has traffic pretty much jammed solid all the way to 31st Street, making your travel time from Marquette to Monroe 33 minutes. As you make your way from Hollywood to Monroe, an improvement is still heavy at 26 minutes, slow from Foster to Chicago. Turning to the Ryan, a 33-minute trip from 91st Street to downtown, outbound smooth sailing. The inbound side of the Bishop Ford, 21 minutes from I-80-94 to the Ryan, Tuskegee Airmen Memorial down to 17 minutes from I-80. If you're on the Stevenson, you're now just shy of an hour from I-355 to DuSable Drive, 45 traveling out. The Eisenhower now just about an hour 5. From Thorndale to the Burns Circle, that outbound trip, just about 55 minutes. And the Kennedy shy of an hour from O'Hare to downtown. Getting to the airport, heavy at 40 minutes. Taking a look at our weather. Cloudy and wet this morning. The National Weather Service says we're headed to a daytime high of around 62, a low tonight of around 47. Currently, it is 50 degrees at Midway, 50 in Jeffrey Manor, and 50 here at the Talk of Chicago. That's a look at traffic and weather now. I'm Annette Vernoy on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
And now back to the Cleopatra Show on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
And we are back. The time is 9:23. You're listening to the Cleopatra Show. And I'm giving out some extra credit. Now, we're going to talk about the United States Postal Service. And who's going to join us shortly is the Marc Morial, President and CEO of the National Urban League. That's no easy feat. And his resume is extensive. He wrote something exclusively intriguing that I thought was important to bring to Black America He put it in writing. I'm going to put it to you verbally. Bottom line is the USPS is doomed to go belly up. And who's going to help them? Ironically, Spirit just cut the umbilical cord and no longer can fly. Their corporation is exhausted imminently. It just abruptly occurred. So we know this is possible. But we also know that many Black families thrive through not only the employment portal of United States Postal Service, but as a direct result of employability for wealth building opportunities. So, in the midst of this, who gains from the United States Postal Service going belly up? What piece of mail in this moment is so critically important that will help your president in his grab for power? What's in that mail that is just vital? Let me go through and see who. And the phone lines are yours, 773-591-1690. Let's see who got the extra credit. All right, class, I'm gonna help you. If I put on my political operative hat, I'm gonna use the term VBM. And what that means is those that vote by mail. So what is in the mail is your ballot. What has been the fight is the ballot box. And ultimately, where the ballot box strategically is that is accessible to support the available opportunities of modalities of how you vote. And to strip away modalities is the enabling aspect that will dwindle the vote. Think about it. Although this is a turbulent Tuesday, I want you all to think. Why now? Today in Ohio, there is a critical vote. Although primary, it is a battleground, and that is pivotal. So if you can successfully cripple the entity that provides the vehicle to enable people to vote, that will crush your president, who is below water in polling, negative 25% in polling. That's critical. And a number of areas on top of that. So a lot of, in terms of quality of life, America is very dissatisfied with the direction of this administration. That is a fact. So if I can cripple the United States Postal Service, not only is the bail bondsman going to win, because some of you all are being summoned by courthouses, your SNAP benefits are coming through the mail, your Social Security, your VA benefits. There are critical pieces that are coming through the mail, and that apparatus is an essential tool for your survival. So if I can privatize it and turn the burden to you, what would you opt for? Would you opt to pay for it? So the question of the day is, would you pay for mail? Just like you pay for subscriptions to various platforms like Paramount and Netflix and Disney. Can we parse these things out? But more importantly, who's going to stop the steal? See, that slogan, that campaign was a prelude to where we're at today. Stop the steal. Right now in Louisiana, that governor has literally stopped the election illegally. Court, they're battling right now. The ACLU is battling right now because he has suspended the election. This is serious, people. The gut punch of the Voting Rights Act and the tidal wave of Republican power is white facing in the South in terms of stripping away Black electoral power. So all of these things happening at once. Why is the United States Postal Service such a vital attribute? Yes, is an employment lane for a lot of working class Black folk. Yes, it is a vital tool for us to receive critical pieces of information for our survival needs and medications right? So that's another aspect. But more importantly, it has been a critical piece of fabric in America since before it was the United States of America. And we've had this lesson before. It is the eldest employer. Who's going to break it down further when we return is Marc Morial. He's the president and CEO of the National Urban League. And I want us to put our thinking caps on. Yes, it's a turbulent Tuesday, but buckle up, Buttercup, because we have a lot to unpack. And we're going to talk dollars and cents. Because ultimately, if this collapse and this being the eldest, what's next? More on the other side of this break when we return.
Cloudy and cooler today. Right now, temperatures in the 50s. Good morning. I'm in Illinois, and here's what's happening. Just when you thought it was a race between Indiana and Arlington Heights, Illinois, Mayor Brandon Johnson is getting ready to take a trip to Springfield to talk about keeping the Bears here in Chicago. He'll be there Wednesday and Thursday. On his list of topics is the future of the Chicago Bears, and he's planning to talk to state lawmakers to make a last-minute play to keep the Bears in the city. We expect to hear more about the mayor's trip at a press briefing later today. Several Chicago police officers are being recognized for their bravery and stellar job performance. Mayor Brandon Johnson was on hand at yesterday's luncheon at the downtown Hyatt Regency.
Above and beyond their call to duty, responding at any time of the day or night, rushing into any situation.
There was also a moment of silence for fallen officer John Bartholomew, who was shot and killed in Swedish hospital. His partner, Nelson Crespo, was critically wounded and is still in the hospital. Chicago Alderman Will Hall of the 6th Ward, along with community leaders and residents, rallied outside Walgreens at 86 and Cottage Grove to speak out against the store closing for good in 30 days. At that rally, he called the closing corporate abandonment.
When 12th and State Street had loss prevention, they redesigned. Again, this neighborhood is not broke. These people behind us have good jobs, retirees, and they want a quality medicine option in their neighborhood.
After already packing up and shutting down 5 Southside Walgreens locations, the company is also set to close 86 in Cottage Grove as early as June 4th. While more than 100 union workers at Brookfield Zoo, Chicago are on strike, Perry Williams has more.
Groundskeeper Carrie Sapienza says the main sticking point is healthcare coverage.
When asked at the negotiation table, they couldn't provide documentation that secured health care. And we have families.
Thank you.
Families, children. We need that health care.
Teams from Local 727 mentioned that the contract for grounds, custodial, and facilities teams expired on May 1st. Employees who walked out are urging the public not to visit the zoo during the strike. I'm Perry Williams.
And congratulations goes out to Dr. Shaka Rawls, the principal of Leo High School, for getting a special surprise recognition. He was handed the coveted Golden Apple Foundation Award for Excellence in Leadership. In 2016, Dr. Rawls took over at the Black all-male Catholic high school in the Auburn Gresham neighborhood at a time when the school was struggling. Today, enrollment and test scores are up, and there is a 100% college acceptance rate. That's a look at our news now on 1690 WVON. Traffic and weather up next. WVON News Time, 9:33.
I've tried everything to stand out at work. Donuts, a company coffee blend, even dressed as the company mascot for Halloween.
There's an easier way. A ComEd facility assessment. Their engineer gave my company free insights and actions that saved us $732,000 on energy. Easy, right?
Learn how ComEd can help you save at ComEd.com/facility assessment. ComEd, powering lives. Savings will vary based on customers' usage and rate.
Illinois politicians did it again. They secretly tucked bad policy into the budget. Now, guess who pays the price? Servers, drivers, stylists, workers who depend on tips. Unless Springfield fixes this mistake, your credit and debit cards may not work to pay sales tax or tips starting July 1st. Tell Springfield, stop the credit card chaos law. Learn more at guardyourcard.com/Illinois, paid for by the Electronic Payments Coalition.
This report is brought to you by Blindster.com. Buying custom blinds shouldn't be complicated or stressful. That's why Blindster.com makes it simple and affordable. You measure, you install, and you save big on custom blinds. Ordering takes minutes. Installation is easy. And they guarantee they'll fit. Blindster.com.
WVON traffic and weather now. It has been a stressful time on the roadways. We've been seeing some high travel times today, especially for this time of morning. You're still looking at about a 33-minute trip along the Ryan end from 95th Street to downtown. Outbound traffic pretty light. Give yourself 21 minutes along the Bishop Ford from I-80-94 to the Ryan. Now down to 16 along Tuskegee Airman Memorial from I-80. If you're on DuSable Lakeshore Drive, that earlier accident northbound at Chicago Avenue has traffic pretty much down to a stop-and-go standstill from 31st Street. Your complete travel time from 67th Street to Jackson, almost 30 minutes. As you make your way from Hollywood to Monroe, now 25 minutes. The Stevenson 55 now from I-355 to DuSable Drive, outbound still 45. Give yourself just about 55 minutes along the Eisenhower to from Thorndale to the Burns Circle, outbound a 50-minute trip. And the Kennedy now just about an hour solid from O'Hare to downtown, getting to the airport, a 40-minute trip. Taking a look at our weather, some early morning showers, cloudy right now. The National Weather Service says we're headed to a daytime high of around 62, tonight 47. Right now it's 51 at Midway, 51 in Dalton, and 51 degrees here at the Talk of Chicago. That's a look at traffic and weather now. I'm Annette Flournoy on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
And now back to the Cleopatra Show on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
And we are back. The time is 9:36, and you're listening to the Cleopatra Show. And you've heard the saying, rain, sleet, hail, or snow. This mail has got to go. That is the commitment from the oldest institution that was established before the United States of America. That's right. And on the live line is the Marc Morial, President and CEO of the National Urban League, as promised. And he wrote an explosive piece that caught my attention in the Pittsburgh Courier that really addresses the possibility of the eldest institution going belly up. President Morial, how are you? Welcome to the Cleopatra Show.
Thank you for having me, and continued good word on your show. Love to listen to you, and great to be with you.
No, I really appreciate it, and we thank you for listening here at WVON. So we're listening to you. You put up the WB sign first. You warning brothers and sisters that, hey, this thing is happening, and I am fanning the flames to say, hey, where there's smoke, there's fire.
So look, let's look at it like this. The post office is in the Constitution. The founding fathers understood that the Postal Service and having an efficient system of mail was essential to integrating all of the 13 colonies of the original United States. And since then, the Postal Service has become essential to daily American life for commerce purposes, for personal purposes, or staying in touch with friends and family. And it's also an inexpensive option compared to the alternatives. The alternatives are FedEx and UPS and other forms of, and look, there is a reason to use them, but we don't want the whole Postal Service to be privatized where we can't have any say over pricing. Right now, the postal governors are appointed by the president, and they have a public accountability. The Postal Service is efficient. It was a place of opportunity for Black people. It was a place of opportunity. Many of my family members, going all the way back to the 1930s, worked in the post office, either inside the post office or as letter carriers. And it was a profession of security, a profession of benefits, and a profession that helped many African Americans achieve middle-class status. That's an important thing to consider, but we need an efficient, functioning Postal Service. So right now, some may say, well, the Postal Service runs at a loss. It's not designed to be profitable. It's designed to exist, Cleopatra, for the public good. But it does, on a $90 billion budget, bring in about $80 billion. So there's a $10 billion or so deficit between what it brings in and what it spends. But it exists for the public good, for seniors to get medicine, for us to pay bills. I use the mails a lot. I don't use online payments for everything. Some things I prefer, I feel safer to send through the mails. I still send cards, birthday cards. When my mom was living, Mother's Day cards. And so there's a vital function, and we've got to resist this notion to let some private party hijack it and turn it into a profit-making enterprise and raise the pricing and cut service. The power of the Postal Service is that it provides service to every single residence in the United States, whether it's in a far-off place or close-in place. And so we've got to protect its integrity and resist this rank and naked privatization craze. Some things do work better in the private sector. Others work better if they are part of government and operate for the public good. It's not one or the other. It's that in this instance, the Postal Service is not broken. It may have challenges like every agency, like every enterprise, like any big organization, but it isn't broken. And we need to resist the idea that it should be privatized. Already certain functions are being privatized, and it's being done without any public debate, without any public discussion. So I say let's stand up for the Postal Service.
No, I stand with you. My aunt, may she rest in peace, was a postmaster, a number of my family. But beyond that, neighbors, folks throughout my ward, the region, Black America, okay, let's just keep it all the way real, have truly been able to at least protect and galvanize wealth and opportunities for education and various mechanisms to stability through the post office. But more importantly, here's what I tiptoe to President Morial, is the reality of, remember the concept, stop the steal?
Yes.
I stand with you with reverberating what was reverberated to us. And this still is the greatest grift to stop the election, right? Because the most important entity, besides those that are codependent on medication and Social Security benefits and everything else that come through there, are the VBMs, those that vote by mail, okay? And in this election, we have a critical one right now in the battleground states today for a primary in Ohio. You have the governor in Louisiana that has counseled the election, unconstitutionally counseled the election. And here we are with the United States Postal Service going belly up, and the regime is not coming to the defense because they would like very much so for it to collapse so that folks that depend on their ballot via the mail can no longer receive it and will be forced to go in person despite not being able, handicapable or otherwise. That is the angle and the lens that I cannot resist but to uplift in addition to everything you're saying.
Remember, this president railed against vote by mail. I vote by mail where I vote today. And it is convenient, it is available and accessible in the event that on the day of the election, I'm traveling or I'm not in town. It's an efficient system, it's worked well. And when you attack the post office, the sinister motive is to attack voting by mail. Imagine it would be like a poll tax. If someone who wanted to vote by mail had to pay $5, $10, $15, $20 to FedEx or UPS, and I love FedEx and UPS, don't get me wrong, to be able to cast their ballot, it would be like a poll tax. And so I think we have to understand that the president has leveraged the presidency to make money for himself and his family. And he has a cabinet of billionaires who think that because they run the government, they run a private business that they can basically leverage his power for their own benefits. This is wrong. This is corruption. This is dangerous. And this whole idea of privatizing the post office, the idea being, let me hand it over to a buddy of mine who can turn it into a profit-making enterprise for themselves. So we have to resist it, and we have to remind people that the Postal Service in the Constitution, the Founding Fathers had the vision and the brilliance that for the growth of the country, we needed a system to be able to communicate, communicate with. And today, it's about optionality. Some people may want to use the internet, they may want to text, they may want to email. Others may be more comfortable using mails in the post office to receive packages, to pay bills, to do a whole range of things. So we have to resist. Now, I want to talk about Louisiana, my home state. And as you know, I served many years as an elected official in Louisiana, in the state Senate, and later as mayor of New Orleans. My late great father was the first Black person elected to the legislature in 1967 since Reconstruction. And so I've been around the quest for years, for a long, long time, to fight for fair representation. What's happening in Louisiana, what is happening in this country with this Calais case is a tragedy. It's a power grab. It's a racial power grab. It's designed to thwart Black political power. And we're going to have to respond. We need states like Illinois and New York and Maryland and California to respond to what will be an effort in the South to literally eliminate Black political power by eliminating Black majority seats in state legislatures and eliminating Black majority seats in the Congress in the South. And so we have to understand this is a national issue. This is an attack on our hard-won power. Our power and our political power is our birthright as American citizens. That's how I look at it. It is a birthright. It's a God-given right that we ought to have political power and the ability to elect people of our choice. And this, it seeks to eliminate it. The Supreme Court ought to be ashamed of itself. This decision is going to make sure and guarantee that this Supreme Court is going to be seen by history as one that has betrayed American democracy.
You know, you said a word, and when we come back, I was looking at the map this morning of how red it is destined to be with this effort approved by SCOTUS to eliminate and do away with. I'm talking about 9-0, like literally eviscerating Black representation in totality is the extreme effort. But I mean, from day one, this has been a slow walk in this regime and an all-out attack on Black Americans. And I am boldly saying this. I was listening last night to Rachel Maddow on MS Now expressly speak to this. And I will continue to reverberate it because I do stand in solidarity with Louisiana. In fact, I had State Representative Candace Newell on with us several times. I will continue to tap all of the leadership because I need for us to understand the systemic effort and overreach in this moment. But again, when we come back, I have to get your take on the governor literally counseling the election in the midst of an election. I've never seen such behavior, but I really want you to speak to the desperation, not only of the oligarchs, but those that they are controlling in electoral power in this moment to do their bidding, right? I think that is a big part of the relationship. You're talking about the grift of the family, the Trump family, and the wealth that they're pretty much stealing from America. But more importantly, the other oligarchs that are controlling the power of the pen via the electoral power. That is huge. And the litmus test in Louisiana and those battleground states are critical. Listen, guys, the Marc Morial, president and CEO of the National Urban League, is hanging out with little old me. That's right, the Cleopatra Show. And he is talking to us. There it is. There it is.
Holds sway in the midway of Chicago.
There it is. There it is. I'm humbled by that. Little old me. Little
But
me.
you got a powerful voice of WVON and a powerful voice in Chicago. And I just love the Cleopatra Show.
Well, thank you so much. Listen, guys, when we come back, we're going to get his take on it because he is Louisiana to and through. And that battleground affects you and I when we come back.
More from Cleopatra coming up next on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Tuned in to your favorite WVON personalities on Facebook Live?
Don't just watch, like it, love it, share it. Every click helps us grow the conversation and keep the community strong. So remember, like it, love it, share it, Chicago.
This is Rufus Williams, and I've got something special for you. I am proud to announce that we're launching the Rufus Williams Travel Club in conjunction with Advantage International. Our first trip, we're staying in the United States and heading to one of the most stunning destinations for culture to cuisine. Join us October 8th through 12th as we explore the charm, the beauty, and the history of Charleston, South Carolina. This isn't your typical getaway. We're walking through history and standing where our stories began. From the roots of Gullah Geechee culture to the International African American Museum, from cobblestone streets to waterfront views. This is more than a trip. It's a cultural vibe. To find out more, visit WVON.com and click the Rufus Williams Travel Club banner. And keep listening for more details. The Rufus Williams Travel Club will turn curiosity into understanding, one destination at a time. We are WVON.
With your help, the Illinois Lottery generated $784 million for education last year. Play all your favorite Illinois Lottery games today to help raise even more. Be smart, play smart. Must be 18 or older to play. Game odds are available at IllinoisLottery.com.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everything's on them. If you're male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-444-2013. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes or overweight or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-444-2013. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-444-2013. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-444-2013 or biglou.com.
It's the afternoon show with Atiba Buchanan and LaDonna Ray.
Congressman Jonathan Jackson on the line.
That's what I mean is that America will come and get you. But it's about the oil. They bombed in Iran, they've got oil. They bombed in Iraq, they've got oil. They bombed in Libya, they've got oil. And now they bombed in Venezuela, they've got oil. They even came in after getting because he had oil.
Come on, Congressman. That was a great setup. That was good. That was good.
It's the afternoon show with Atiba Buchanan and LaDonna Ray. Weekdays at 3 p.m. on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON. WVON traffic and weather now.
Travel times are finally coming down. You're down to 25 minutes along the Ryan from 95th Street to downtown. Outbound just fine. As you make your way along the inbound side of the Bishop Ford, look out for an accident at King. Right now, your travel time 20 minutes from I-8094. Tuskegee Airmen Memorial down to a 17-minute trip, but do you want to factor in a car fire blocking the right lane at Sibley Boulevard? Along to Sabo Lakeshore Drive, we saw lots of delays there earlier due to two accidents, one northbound at Chicago Avenue, another one at Monroe. Both accidents have been cleared. We're down to a 20-minute trip now from 67th Street to Jackson, Hollywood to Monroe, 20 minutes. A slight improvement along the Stevenson as well. That inbound trip from I-355 to DuSable Lakeshore Drive down to 55 minutes, outbound 45. The Eisenhower finally under an hour, 56 minutes from Thorndale to the Burns Circle, the outbound trip at 45. And the Kennedy, a 50-minute trip from O'Hare to downtown, getting to the airport down to 30. Taking a look at our weather, we're seeing some haziness in the sky. We had some earlier rain. Temperatures are expected to top out in the low 60s. 62 is our high, 47 is our low. Currently, it's 52 at O'Hare, 52 in Woodlawn, and 52 degrees here at the Talk of Chicago. That's a look at traffic and weather now. I'm Annette Bernoy on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
And now back to the Cleopatra Show on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
And we are back. You are listening to the Cleopatra Show. The time is 9:54, and we're continuing our exclusive coverage with the Marc Morial, President and CEO of the National Urban League. And we're discussing the United States Postal Service and the possibilities of it going belly up. But more importantly, right now, this gentleman is to and through Louisiana, and Louisiana is going through some things that will catapult a new era in America. And we stand in solidarity right here at the Cleopatra Show. And we're taking our marching orders from President Morial in this moment. And as I was asking, what's your take on the governor and his effort to literally suspend the election?
Governor Landry is a bit of a mini me. He's a mini me Trumper. And I think he takes his cadence in his politics pretty much from the Donald Trump playbook. And I think his goal is to make Louisiana a microcosm of the world, according to Trump. As such, the marginalization of African American political power. Louisiana, South Carolina, and Mississippi have the largest percentage population of Black people in the country. We are 34% African American. If you add the communities that are Hispanic, Latino, and Asian, Louisiana is maybe nearly 40% non-white. And what this is a political coup through the judicial system, enabled by the Supreme Court, to basically take Black political power and completely marginalize it, to make it de minimis by eliminating majority Black seats in the legislature and majority Black seats in the House of Representatives, in the United States House of Representatives. Here's what's so curious. I mean, I look at a state like Illinois, which has elected 2 African Americans to the United States Senate, currently has an African American lieutenant governor and an African American attorney general. And historically, if you go all the way back, has had African Americans. I think of Roland Burris, who was who held office in Illinois in the 80s and the 90s and the early 2000s. Louisiana has never elected anyone African American statewide since the 1880s. No Black person has ever had has had a fair opportunity because the voting is really polarized, and that's the reality. So an African American, in order to win an election, has to run in a majority African American district or a district that's near majority African American. When I was mayor of New Orleans, had an extremely strong base in the Black community, and I had a significant white crossover vote, particularly when I ran for re-election. But the first time I ran for mayor, I only got 9 to 10% of the white vote in New Orleans, despite the fact that New Orleans is cosmopolitan. Voting in Louisiana can be very, very racially polarized. Same in Mississippi, same in Alabama. When President Obama ran for president in 2008, I think he got 13% of the white vote in Louisiana, maybe 13 or 10 or 11% in Alabama and Alabama and Mississippi. Very small. Yet on the opposite side, he won 10 majority white states. So the distinction between voting patterns in the North and in the Midwest and in the West and in the South still remain. And this is why we need the Voting Rights Act, why we need a viable, strong Voting Rights Act. And I am more than disappointed with the Supreme Court for engaging in twisted logic, linguistic gymnastics to overturn and undercut the viability of the Voting Rights Act. And I don't think they're going to stop there. I think that the far right wants to disable the Civil Rights Act. Already, the Trump administration has eliminated the offices of civil rights in most of the federal agencies by defunding them or firing all the employees. They haven't even done it by going to the Congress and eliminating. They've just basically it's like saying you have a car, but I'm never ever going to let you fill it up with gas. Or you have a car and you know what? You don't have any tires, but you got a car.
Well, I want to say this. In fact, on day 2, he did away with prohibition of segregated facilities. So in other words, authorizing that it is now legal to segregate. So I think the efforts, the executive order of 11246. The contractor will not discriminate against any employee or applicant for employment based on race, color, religion, sex, sexual orientation, gender identity, or national origin. And that is section 202. So these are different but same in terms of the same vein and effort to dial us back. And these are the efforts of what makes America great, according to the far right and this regime. So to your point, these building blocks have been instituted.
We have to reject that notion of America. The notion that America's future is multiracial, multicultural. This MAGA movement, which is trying to systematically disable all of the victories of the civil rights movement and the post-civil rights movement, is dangerous, which is why with our voice, with our vote, resist. Here's the thing. Let's send a message in the fall elections by voting in Obama-like numbers to say we do not support. We got to cast a protest vote. And that protest vote is against the existing direction of the country.
Well, we
Black
got
America, I'm talking to you straight and strong. Let's cast a vote against the direction of the country. Turn out in record numbers. No more excuses. No more, I don't understand if it makes a difference. We see now that this regime, which was narrowly elected in the 24 election, has now been on a tear to undercut and dismantle, if you will, those initiatives, those protections for the locked out and the left out Americans.
Well, I thank
Black
you.
Americans are central. So I am issuing a call to action right here on the Cleopatra Show to everyone within earshot to vote with a vengeance, vote with passion, and vote to send a message in the fall elections.
I thank you for that message, and I will continue the rallying cry. Let me tell you something. President Morial has sent up the WB sign, warning brothers and sisters, and I'm going to continue to flame the fan in terms of where there's smoke, there's fire, and the house is on fire. Thank you so much for stopping by, Marc Morial.
Cleopatra,
I appreciate
we'll be
your
back
work.
again. Thank you for what you do, and shout out to my friends at the Chicago Urban League, Karen Freeman Wilson. They're doing great work, and they are our presence in the Windy City.
I really appreciate it. Listen, guys, we'll be back after this break.
AZN 52 going up to 62 on this Tuesday, May 5th, 2026. I'm in Illinois, and in the headlines, Chicago police are looking for a missing 12-year-old boy last seen in the Gage Park neighborhood Sunday. Classes are canceled this morning at Forest View School in Arlington Heights after a school resource officer reported his service weapon missing. And the very first visitors at the Obama Presidential Library was treated to a preview and an invite-only tour of the inside of the building yesterday. National news from the Black Information Network is next on the Voice of a Nation and the Talk of Chicago, 1690 AM, WVON, Berwyn, Chicago. It's 10:02.
Here's BIN News Now. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy is blaming the Biden administration for Spirit Airlines shutting down.
Okay, appreciate it. Thank you.
Do you have anything else for the next 30 minutes, or are you going to just take off?
No, I'll just take off.
Sounds good.
All right,
Duffy
appreciate
praised
it.
other airlines for helping stranded passengers and said Spirit employees now have priority access to apply for new airline jobs. A Black Richmond, Virginia mother is recovering after surviving a domestic shooting that killed her 2 children. Police say Tiffany Terry's boyfriend opened fire inside their home, killing 18-year-old Zion and 14-year-old Sadie. The suspect is now in custody. And Janet Jackson will make a special appearance at this week's Grammy Hall of Fame Gala. Her album, Rhythm Nation 1814, is being inducted with performances by George Clinton, the Wilson Sisters of Art, and Teddy Swims. May 8th in L.A. Get
When you're done with the
BIN
caller,
News Now
you're
on demand
due with singing point, right?
on the iHeartRadio
Not
app.
necessarily.
Okay. I thought you said
No, I mean sometimes they're stupid.
Yeah, and then
I'm just way back.
Okay, sounds good.
Broadband is coming to the South Bronx and Upper Manhattan neighborhoods free of charge this summer.
It will provide 2,200 apartments across 39 buildings of affordable housing with free internet for the next 3 years. and it will go a long way towards expanding digital equity in the Bronx and Upper Manhattan. Right now, we know that 1 in 5 residents of the Bronx lack internet connectivity.
It's a $2 million pilot program spearheaded by the New York Public Library that Mamdani says will help low-income New Yorkers get jobs and find no-cost childcare. Congressman Richie Torres helped secure the money for the project.
Back in 2020, during the depths of COVID, we saw the digital divide deprive our most vulnerable children of access to an education and our most vulnerable seniors of access to healthcare. That is why our $2 million appropriation is not an expense, it is an investment in the health, education, and future of the Bronx.
Meantime, the closure of Florida-based Spirit Airlines isn't leaving just thousands of travelers stranded. Thousands of employees are now out of a job. Broward Commissioner Michael Udine says the county is doing everything it can to help.
Career Source Broward is doing an emergency job fair later on today. Broward County has one set at Port Everglades in the next couple of weeks, and I think you'll see more of these popping up.
Spirit of Dania Beach was the largest budget airline operating out of Fort Lauderdale Hollywood International. American and Delta Airlines are offering reduced fares for Spirit customers hit by the sudden closure. A federal appeals court which blocks doctors from sending the abortion pill through the mail has been put on hold. The order was made by Supreme Court Justice Samuel Alito, who set a briefing for this week. 2 companies that manufacture mifepristone have asked the Supreme Court to pause Friday's ruling. They claimed that it would cause immediate chaos. The ruling could mean that there will be arguments at the High Court before its summer recess. And finally, we're taking a brief look at last month when Black actress Jennifer Lewis took home a special honor from the 2026 National Action Network Convention Women's Luncheon. The Reverend Al Sharpton announced that they were giving Lewis the Cultural Icon Award for inspiring generations with her activism. One of many messages she shared with the audience was one she gave to Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley.
The light of our soul will dissipate this hate. The fire in that light will burn this darkness down.
Stay informed, stay connected, and subscribe. Follow BIN News this hour wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Esther Dillard on your home for Black News First, the Black Information Network.
Don't wait until something feels wrong to see a doctor. Painful checkups catch problems early before they become serious. Your health, our community, for WVON.
It's D.L. Hughley. Tucker Carlson took it to the extreme and apologized to the electorate. I think Tucker knows that an 80-year-old demented man in his pants might not be the future anymore. I don't know that it is regret, but I think that he's done something I haven't seen very many people do, which is just take the onus on themselves and say they apologize and just see what they can do to make it right.
Weekdays at 5 a.m. on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Video gambling terminals aren't owned by us. They're owned by out-of-state corporations that have never invested in our neighborhoods or our families. They take the money, we take the hit. These machines kill union jobs and drain pension funds for first responders. When these machines move in, crime goes up and break-ins rise. Our community pays the price. We deserve good union jobs, safer streets, and real investments that stay here and build something lasting. Tell City Council, repeal video gambling terminals. Paid for by Neighborhoods Safety First Association.
This report is brought to you by Blindster.com. Buying custom blinds shouldn't be complicated or stressful. That's why Blindster.com makes it simple and affordable. You measure, you install, and you save big on custom blinds. Ordering takes minutes, installation is easy, and they guarantee they'll fit. Blindster.com.
WVON traffic and weather now.
Still no changes in your travel times. At inbound Triple on the Ryan, 25 minutes from 95th Street into downtown. Outbound, things are smooth sailing. The inbound side of the Bishop Ford, a 21-minute trip in from I-8094. Tuskegee Airmen Memorial, 17 minutes. And DuSable Glacier Drive continues to improve. A 19-minute trip from 67th Street to Jackson. Give yourself 19 minutes from Hollywood to Monroe. Taking a look at our weather, hazy and mild today. Temperatures topping out in the 60s. 62 is our official daytime high. Right now it's 52 at Midway, 52 in Woodlawn, and 52 here at the Talk of Chicago. That's a look at traffic and weather now. I'm Annette Flurnoy on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
WVON is proud to be an official radio partner for the Chicago Blues Festival, June 4th through the 7th. At Millennium Park, we're bringing generations together, one blues riff at a time.
Live from the Xfinity Studios at WVON, it's the Cleopatra Show on Chicago's essential storyteller, 1690 WVON.
And we are back. You're listening to the Cleopatra Show. The time is 10:10. And listen, guys, I want to personally thank Marc Morial, President and CEO of the National Urban League, for taking the time to come to the Cleopatra Show. I think what he had to offer was extremely fruitful on a lot of fronts. And his position is clearly evident. He doesn't take it lightly. And then secondly, he's taken everything that he's learned and using it as tools to enable us for the war that has already begun. Black Americans are under attack, and I'm going to do an exclusive show explicitly to that. For especially, I'm not trying to convince those that don't believe, because my mother has always taught me, if you can't hear, you'll feel. Which is why I teach my son to listen with his ears. So I can't save them all. Let me tell you something about VIP. It's only a few people that can go with me. It's true. It is totally true. But what I can do, I will do. And I will join President Morial and other iconic leaders like them. The work that I'm committed to it at the national headquarters right here at Rainbow Push, and likewise to enable us for this war. I meant what I said. On the second day, the very first day, this regime did away with diversity, equity, and inclusion. The second day, it rolled back institutional laws that prohibit segregation to reinstitute it. That's your president. This is your president. This is not a rallying cry to what happened to the Negros they used to call and were proud Black MAGA folk. And no, you don't need my pity. And no, you don't need to call this show. Call the others like I've suggested to you, because I know you're hurt. But at some point, when even the whites can recognize, we got it wrong. I'm just here to ask what's taking you so long and what you want to do about it. That's all. Because every day you wake up, it's not only a blessing, but a gift that you can do something better and make the difference. Now, the phone lines are yours, 773-591-1690. You heard that little birdie. He put up the WB sign, and I say, hey, he warning brothers and sisters. The United States Postal Service is destined to go belly up, and your president is not going to do a damn thing about it. In fact, he's looking forward to it because his goal had always been to privatize it. He's already eroded not only Black folk in the federal employment industry, but the erosion of Black electoral power is forthcoming. So that was the second half of Marc and I's interview. What does that mean? This is what it means to make America great. Remember that doctrine from the Heritage Foundation? Yeah, you do. Many of you all Googled it and still didn't believe it. The manifesto is manifesting. I'm going to the phone lines. Let's talk to James. James, talk to me. Welcome to WVON.
Hey, good morning. Right on time. Man, y'all said so much. One of the things that I want to add to that conversation is that the civil rights movement spurred all of this. mean, we was getting legislation passed and this and that. And they understood they couldn't stop that tidal wave. So they began a process. They began a process to, to start taking over the judicial system all over the country because we were actually going to court and winning. So, and in 19, we got a president in 19 that Ronald Reagan said we must turn back the clock. People thought he meant black and white. He meant rich and poor. And everything, the postal system was given a big apple that it couldn't swallow. They had to fund their retirement fund for the next 60 years for people who weren't even born yet that's going to work there one day. And they take $5 billion from the postal system every year, which made it go upside down. Check the facts.
No, I know you're right. I show you right. I know you're right.
It was created, and what we don't understand, a lady on the west side did a wonderful, wonderful thing years ago. She started a little school, the Marble College School, right? And so she got funding from the federal government, but from the government after a while for that. And then they said, we could take over the schools too. So they started the charter schools thing, right? Defunding the regular public schools, same money, same pie, all of that. Everything in this country, they want to be for profit. For profit. Right? Everything, not one thing. If the first school I ever went to in life was on 61st and Ingleside, fifth school, right? Kindergarten. There's a school down the street from that school, which is closed. That's a charter school, University of Chicago. It's another charter school, University of Chicago, between Woodlawn and University on 63rd Street. And once they get, and Ernie Duncan was a part of this, right? And they talking about the education and everything. I mean, the water, everything we have is at risk. And if everything go private, they systematically kill the black and brown. We had the most robust black middle class in the country in Chicago because we had access to employment, the postal system, the steel mills, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And if you look today, our middle class is in shambles because they took all the jobs where they had to they had to honor the law and hire us.
And now with the erosion, that is no longer, you are on par. I mean, you're on fire, James. He has taken away the fact that you don't have to adhere to any of these rules, and with housing too. So everything and anything that it was once protection. So great call, James. Great call. For those that are committed to this regime, I need you to talk to the man or woman in the mirror. I do, because at some point you will turn and do an about face and you will question, well, what has the other team done for me? And all I can say to you is that in the midst of where we stand, this is what they're doing to you right now, right? It's not that one is greater than the other. There's some attributes of the other party that I'm not fond of. But to no extent has it ever been this extreme that we are in worse position than our ancestors were post-Reconstruction. I need for us to understand. Now, if I have to do a lesson, which I might, no shame, what do we mean when we talk about the Reconstruction era? There are some of us that truly don't understand what I'm saying, and I know that to be true. And it is with no shame, because one thing I know as an educator, one thing I know about being a Black educated woman is that even to this day, I don't know everything. And I say that with no shame. So you cannot live with shame of not knowing everything, because honestly, it's not meant for us to know all and be all. For those of us that are believers, you know what that means. So it is my due diligence for everything that is in my toolbox and anything I come across to share, enlighten, and inspire. That is the goal for me. Every day I show up. I can't speak for nobody else. But if you don't understand what it means to be in a less position than our ancestors were post Reconstruction, then no, you cannot fathom the devastation that you have yet to feel that is forthcoming. It is coming. It's like a heat wave, and you standing there saying, I don't feel the heat. Just wait for the wave. When we come back, Randy, Michael, Pam, I see you on the live line, and I'm giving out food for thought. Buckle up, Buttercup. It's a turbulent Tuesday. We'll be back.
More from Cleopatra coming up next on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Illinois politicians did it again. They secretly tucked bad policy into the budget. Now, guess who pays the price? Servers, drivers, stylists, workers who depend on tips. Unless Springfield fixes this mistake, your credit and debit cards may not work to pay sales tax or tips starting July 1st. Tell Springfield, stop the credit card chaos law. Learn more at guardyourcard.com/Illinois, paid for by the Electronic Payments Coalition.
Hi, I'm Lori Smith, host of Meeting the Moment. WVON, in partnership with the Chicago Community Trust, developed Meeting the Moment to amplify the voices of nonprofits across Chicagoland, giving them the communication tools they need to expand their reach and turn awareness into action. Right now, our communities are facing real challenges, from economic uncertainty to public safety to access and equity. But in the middle of it all, there are organizations doing the work quietly, faithfully, powerfully. With Meeting the Moment, we'll have honest conversations about the issues shaping our region and, more importantly, the solutions happening on the ground. And each week, we'll feature a Chicagoland nonprofit making a difference. You'll hear their story and find out how you can support their work, because Meeting the Moment is about more than just awareness. It's about impact. Join the Meeting the Moment movement, a program designed for the doers. For more information, visit WVON.com/Meeting the Moment. Listen every Saturday at 12 noon, right here on WVON 1690, the Talk of Chicago. Let's meet the moment together. Powered by the Chicago Community Trust.
High blood pressure often has no symptoms, but it can lead to heart disease, stroke, and kidney damage. Know your numbers. Stay active and make regular checkups part of your routine. And that's your Healthy Reminder. This Healthy Reminder is sponsored in part by the South Suburban Chicago, Illinois chapter of the Lynx Incorporated and Vantiv.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-444-2013. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-444-2013. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-444-2013. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-444-2013 or biglou.com.
WVON traffic and weather now.
No changes in your travel times, but we are tracking a new incident. Right now, on the north side in Lincoln Park, there is an accident at the intersection of Ashland and Wrightwood. You want to steer clear if all possible. Taking a look at your weather, hazy skies, temperatures climbing into the low 60s today. Currently, we're at 52. At Midway, it's 53 in West Englewood and 53 degrees here at the Talk of Chicago. That's a look at traffic and weather now. I'm in Efranoy on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Hello. That's the email.
Now back to the Cleopatra Show on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Now, who waiting on the postman or that postal woman? Now, some of y'all like y'all postal workers. Don't be fronting. Be waiting at them, telling us, "Oh, you got something for me," and then others, y'all not nice to them because they late and you mail, you getting Miss Dixon mail down the street and so on and so forth. I like how y'all show up for the postal people, but then you won't show up for your elected officials. You just let them be there. Oh, they gonna get it together. Oh, they working hard. But your postal person come late, or you ain't seen them in a couple of days. You about ready to fight them. I need you to have that same big energy in this moment. I do. Because right now, the erosion of what's about to come, you ain't ready for this. So I keep telling you to buckle up, Buttercup. It's a turbulent kind of Tuesday. You ever been on a turbulent plane? I have. Messed me up as a little girl. Then we were flying back from Atlanta, headed to Chicago. Then I experienced turbulence on my way to Disney World, my mother, Disneyland, excuse me. No, World, Florida, right? So I've experienced some turbulence, and it is scary. So I'm in a nice way telling you, you ought to be afraid. And then for those of us that are God-fearing, I ain't scared. I only fear God. Now, man, okay. It's not an either or. It can be both. Because the raft is coming. And a number of us aren't prepared. Because you don't believe fat meat is greasy. We are on a blue island in a sea of red, right here in the state of Illinois. We are. Even if you wanted to seek refuge, I ask you all periodically, where would you move? Where is it safe for Black Illinoisans, let alone Black America? We are outnumbered. We are the minority. And here it is, the little steps that we've taken through, 60 years, have made folks so afraid that they are stripping away any opportunity for even representation. And they okay with that. So in the state of Louisiana, where it's 50 of 50, the bottom of the barrel, they okay with that. In fact, the governor has suspended the election unconstitutionally. This is America. It's 2026. Is this the fix? I'm going to the phone line, 773-591-6090. We're talking about the United States Postal Service, destined to go belly up. And America, this president and its administration has no intention on saving it. What say you? Are you willing to pay for your mail? Let's ask Randy. Randy, talk to me. Welcome to WVON.
Yes, good morning, and appreciate that. Grand rising to you, Cleopatra. Excellent interview with Marc Morial. I also want to suggest people get the National Urban League's reports that they issue every year. They have an annual report that is excellent. It's full, chock full of excellent information about economics, political, social issues and stuff that are relevant to Black folks, as well as go to the Chicago Urban League and get their reports too that they have their studies. And I also just want to say that and you're absolutely right about what they're trying to do in New Orleans is that they're afraid of Black people because they also remember the Black Reconstruction period, right? That era where our people like Jane Cleopatra became senators and Congress representatives and et cetera. So that is what they're concerned about, and they're concerned about also here in Chicago because they look at Chicago and say, "Oh no," they're like, "Wow, we got too many Negroes." These are white folks meeting with each other. They're talking about there are too many Black people in here and position authority in Chicago. So we have to take care of them. So that's why they got the racist Eileen Burke, the district attorney, in office, and we're going to move to try to get her out of office. So they call one-term district attorney, state attorney, and also.
Randy, it sounds like you've been on my desk. You've been in my notes. Randy, you know what the promo about to be today, don't you?
Well, what can I say?
Oh, Eileen O'Neill Burke. Oh, Lord.
Because what they want to do, they want to be able to do surveillance on the mail. In the book, the American Police State, like David Wise, they talk about how to use the post office to open people's mail, right? Different activists, people like Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King and other activists. So with that said, I'm going to keep it in front of people that can work, and we got to fight this.
Oh, I appreciate it, and I agree with you. Let's talk to Michael. Michael, talk to me. Welcome to WVON.
Oh, my God. Good
young lady.
Good morning.
Now, my sentiments is with Randy because I make it my business. I just stepped out the bank just so I could hear that brother talk. You know, because he's always spot on. But I wanted to say to you that we've kind of been quiet about the people that voted for Donald Trump. Why? Because I know me, I didn't want to rub it and dig it and smash it in people's face. But it's about time now because we need them to vote. We need them to vote. Ms. Cleopatra. But we need them to know and finally it's being spoken on how these people of the other ethnic group, the white people, are pushing to dismantle us all over the country. And one thing that I have to say to you, great job, young lady, because you said to me before, you said, Michael, one thing that we do on WVON is push the black agenda. And you're absolutely right. That's why I listen. Now it's really urgent. It's a call to action about the black agenda. And even the Latinos, the Asians, anybody else of another ethnic group, this dude is not prejudiced. He's attacking blacks because, like Randy said, we are the threat. But he's attacking everybody of other ethnic groups as well. So it's hard to win if we are not in. So what I'm sharing with you is we all got to be in. You feel me? Because this is something that's really aggressive. They're moving very fast. Project 225, whatever that damn thing is. They're moving fast, and they're moving so fast that a lot of people that's not paying attention, they missing it, and it's going to kick all us in the butt. But it's time to fight. And another thing about that state's attorney down there, she has no black people in her cabinet. Just so y'all know.
That's tomorrow. That's what I said. Randy been on my desk. Listen, I appreciate you listening, Michael. Get back in the bank and listen. When we come back, Pam, Donald, I see you on the live line, and we have a special guest. Weiner is going to hang out with us. You don't want to miss this.
Hazy and cooler with temps topping out in the 60s. Good morning, I'm in Illinois, and here's what's happening. New this hour, the Trump administration is talking about taking control of the U.S. Postal Service and privatizing it. In an exclusive one-on-one with WVON's Cleopatra Show, Marc Morial, President and CEO of the National Urban League, says the U.S. Postal Service is a protected entity and exists for the good of the people.
There's a vital function. We've got to resist this notion to let some private party hijack it and turn it into a profit-making enterprise and raise the pricing and cut service. The power of the Postal Service is that it provides service to every single residence in the United States.
He also says any talks about privatizing the U.S. Postal Service should not happen without public debate. Several Chicago police officers are being recognized for their bravery and stellar job performance. Mayor Brandon Johnson was on hand at yesterday's luncheon at the Downtown Hyatt Regency.
Above and beyond their call to duty, responding at any time of the day or night, rushing into any situation.
There was also a moment of silence for fallen Officer John Bartholomew, who was shot and killed at Swedish Hospital. His partner, Nelson Crespo, was critically wounded and is still in the hospital. Just when you thought it was a race between Indiana and Arlington Heights, Illinois, Mayor Brandon Johnson is getting ready to take a trip to Springfield to talk about keeping the Bears here in Chicago. He'll be there Wednesday and Thursday. On his list of topics is the future of the Chicago Bears, and he's planning to talk to state lawmakers to make a last-minute play to keep the Bears here. We expect to hear more about the mayor's trip at a press briefing later today. Well, Chicago Alderman Will Hall of the 6th Ward, along with community leaders and residents, rallied outside Walgreens at 86 and Cottage Grove yesterday to speak out against the store closing for good in 30 days. At that rally yesterday, he called the closing corporate abandonment.
station and loss prevention and redesign. Again, this neighborhood is not broke. These people behind us have good jobs.
I can. It's not technically a curse word yet.
After already packing up and shutting down 5
It's such a cunt.
locations, the company is expected to close 86 in Cottage Grove June 4th. And congratulations goes out to Dr. Shaka Rawls, the principal of Leo High School, for getting a special surprise recognition. He was handed the coveted Golden Apple Foundation Award for Excellence in Leadership. In 2016, Dr. Rawls took over at the Black all-male Catholic high school in the Auburn Gresham neighborhood at a time when the school was struggling. Today, enrollment and test scores are up, and there's a 100% college acceptance rate. Well, that's a look at our news now on 1690 WVON. Traffic and weather up next. WVO News Time, 10:35.
The OPC is more than a presidential center. It's where history meets hope. In June, witness history being made. We're WVON.
Hey, Chicago, it's Matt McGill.
Yeah, I know. It is an accident. There's a lot going on. Yeah, and if you can't hear the clip over the music, or the music that mine's playing, then just listen. Because I'm like what you're
Me and my buddy Sir Henry Cheatham, we're going to the iconic Removal Theater, 3618 South Boston, and we're bringing on stage one of Chicago's favorites, the one, the only, Willie
I'm not at your voice. I have a bigger pen and I'm trying to push up the phone. The difference is 20.
and Chicago's
I
own,
am
the
going to take
legendary
you. I'm
John
telling you.
Brittney.
I'm telling you. You got to tell me. Like the cookie.
You want to join us? Then reserve your free seats now at
Then it needs to be
RemovaChicago.com.
louder.
That's RemovaChicago.com. Then keep it right here to
Yeah.
WVON.
All right.
Your
Can we
chance
make? Can we get the
to
cook for
win
it?
VIP tickets to the Remova
Okay, great.
and to hear more about this year's lineup.
It's been a problem for like 3 weeks.
Thursday, June 4th at
I've
the
been
Remova
saying
Theater to kick off the 2026 Chicago Blues Festival, brought to you by Mayor Brandon Johnson and DCAS, the Department of Cultural Affairs and Special Events.
It's DL Hughley. He can't his logic is as weak as his. Everybody fucking knew that Republicans freed the slaves. Everybody knew it. The last time they did something for black people was 163 years ago. You gotta update your resume. Have a 5-year gap on your resume, see this now. When Republicans did that, Hawaii wasn't a state. If you're going to talk about the greatness of a policy that helped black people out, it should at least be sometime after the fucking moonlight.
Isn't it, hey, Tanya,
Talk of Chicago.
isn't that the man that died named too? Rob Weiner?
Primary care
Well,
that's
his is Weiner. This is
OSF
Weiner.
Complete Care
Weiner.
55
All
Plus
right,
is
take your phone.
personalized primary care for adults 55 and older living with ongoing health conditions. Now accepting patients in Evergreen Park. OSFhealthcare.org/CC55.
Tuned in to your favorite WVON personalities on Facebook Live? Don't just watch, like it, love it, share it. Every click helps us grow the conversation and keep the community strong. So remember, like it, love it, share it, Chicago.
It's Matt McGill.
Man, we just want to give you a little how do you do today from the choir. How do you do, Matt McGill? How do you do? How do you do, Matt McGill? How do you do? You may take your class, but you got the horses. How do you do, Matt McGill? How do you do?
Thank you, guys.
Matt McGill on the Talk of Chicago. 1690 WVON.
This report is brought to you by Blindster.com. Buying custom blinds shouldn't be complicated or stressful. That's why Blindster.com makes it simple and affordable. You measure, you install, and you save big on custom blinds. Ordering takes minutes, installation is easy, and they guarantee they'll fit. Blindster.com.
WVON. Traffic and weather now.
The ride is in pretty good shape. You're looking at a 20-minute trip from 95th Street to downtown outbound smooth sailing. As you make your way along the Bishop Ford and Tuskegee Airmen Memorial, you'll move along at the closest speed. Things are looking pretty good along DuSable Lakeshore Drive right now, 67th Street to Jackson. No problems, no delays. Hollywood to Monroe, a 17-minute trip. If you're on the Stevenson, things have cleared up nicely. You're down to 35 minutes from I-355 to DuSable Drive, outbound a 30-minute trip. The The Eisenhower, give yourself 55 minutes from Thorndale to the Burns Circle, that outbound trip about 45, and the Kennedy, a 45-minute trip in from O'Hare to downtown. Getting to the airport, just about 25 minutes. Taking a look at our weather, we're seeing some hazy skies. The National Weather Service says we're going to top out at around 62 tonight, drop down around 47. Currently, it's 53 at O'Hare, 53 in Pilsen, and 53 degrees here at the top of Chicago. That's a look at traffic and weather now. I'm in it for on the top of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
And now back to the Cleopatra Show on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Let Democrats win. And by the way, we know that the people who are the weakest link in oligarchy are the blacks. Always have been. The blacks keep on resisting. They kept resisting when they were slaves. They could have just stayed down, ate chicken bones and chicken necks and been quiet. No, they had to keep rebelling. And then when they got free, they were like, we want free public schools. And boom, South Carolina did it, and the white kids got free public schools. Damn it. Then they were like, we want civil rights. And then that went to the women too. They were like labor rights. They wanted to join unions. These poor-ass workers, like, why do they keep on wanting rights? They hate workers. They hate poor people and working-class people. All these people hate y'all. They hate working-class people of every race. They hate women who want to vote, women who want to be free. They're like, all these people are a majority. And in order for us, the oligarchs, including the 6 of them, to hold on to their they have to make sure nobody can vote. So they're like, yeah, we're going to get rid of the Voting Rights Act. But we're doing it in a way that you can't say we got rid of the Voting Rights Act. Because technically, it's still on the books. We're going to gut it and scoop out the insides of it. And then no blacks can vote. And if no blacks can vote, it's a wrap. There will be no progressive policy. They're not.
And listen, guys, you're listening to the Cleopatra Show. The time is 10:41. It's a turbulent Tuesday. And we are going up a couple 100,000 feet. And no, we're not riding Spirit because that's collapsed. But we've been talking about things that are on the brinks of collapsing. And now we're moving from the United States Postal Service to this country. And in the core of this country, we have the Constitution, the fabric and the being that institutionally guides our very moral compass, our core to how we govern and rule the land. And right now, one of its iterations, the Voting Rights Act, which came at a bloodbath for Black Americans and a fight. Everything has been a fight. And we talked about the Reconstruction era that came after a fight. That's right, the Civil War and the rebuilding of this country post that war enabled Black Americans the opportunity via integration to thrive. And now in a society that is no longer segregated, the Trump regime has instituted that back into the fabric as well. And at the crust of it is the Supreme Court justices with a 6-3 ruling, 6 of whom are conservative justices. And remember, last week I was asking about those conservative wins. So everything that we do here at the Cleopatra Show has an ebb and flow. And eventually everything does tie into one another. So following the controversial ruling that President Morial was just speaking to, Louisiana versus Kalia, a wave of redistricting efforts is sweeping across the country as a result of it, with states like Florida, Alabama, and Tennessee scrambling to follow Louisiana's lead. Now, what are they racing for? There is a big election happening in November. And who doesn't want to be a lame duck? That's right, your president, Donald John Trump. Advocates are warning that this decision could dramatically reshape the political landscape. So President Morial and I were just talking from the National Urban League. And what he's saying is that the erosion of Black political power and these minority districts that are already the majority white ruled, Louisiana essentially etching for a complete white political power landscape, even if the district is majority Black. And in the state of Louisiana, That state is definitely a third Black, one of the highest densities where Black people live in this country. And yet it is at the bottom in the rank of states, 50 of 50. And yet they got time to dial back a duly elected clerk, Clerk Duncan. Isn't that something? But that was struck down. It had to be struck down in the court of law. On the lifeline to indulge us as we just listened to the Joy-Ann Reid, my soror, speak to the history of the dial back effect and how when we gain, everybody wins. And yet we don't want folks to win because the oligarchs have a plan, that privatization. Hence why waiting on the death of the United States Postal Service will be cataclysmic, is Rob Weiner, director of the Lawyers Committee Voting Rights Project. Rob, welcome to the Cleopatra Show.
It's great to be here.
It's great to have you. I hope that that landscape has been laid out. We have been building this house that nobody wants to live in that is progressive. I know I don't.
Yeah, things could be going better.
They totally could, but they're not. So talk to us about Louisiana. I was just giving the governor some black roses when it comes to his efforts to cancel or suspend the election unconstitutionally. In addition to all of what's happening, the election itself has been suspended.
You know, first of all, the Voting Rights Act was the crown jewel of the civil rights movement. And people, the civil rights heroes, the Kings, the Lewises, these people in the foot soldiers, they fought, they bled, they died to achieve this fundamental constitutional right. It's the right from which every other right flows. Without the vote, you don't have power, and without power, you don't have services, you don't have equality, you don't have humane treatment. And the Supreme Court just gutted it. They didn't get rid of it. They just carved out its innards. And now Louisiana wants to take advantage of that and change this election in the middle. The people have already started voting. And what's going to happen to their votes? It is unseemly. It is just wrong.
If I may say, it is criminal. It's not about wrong or right at this point. It is absolutely criminal. And it's unfathomable that I am referring to a sitting governor for criminal activity of robbing the electorate of its right, its birthright to perform a civic duty in our democracy. Ergo, it's criminal.
You know, in the Supreme Court, they went to the Supreme Court generally takes something, I think the number is like 42 days for them to issue their order after the decision. I may have the number wrong, but it's about there. And they went to the Supreme Court and said, would you speed up issuing this order? Because we need that before we can change the primary and wipe out the primary. And the Supreme Court has done that twice in the last 25 years, just 2 times out of thousands of cases. And they did it. And Justice Jackson dissented. And she said, this really looks partisan. It looks unseemly. And it is a very bad image for the Supreme Court. And Justice Alito and some of the others took great offense at that and wrote back and said the only thing that's problematic here is Justice Jackson's rhetoric. But she's willing to take them on say it as it is. And that's what needs to happen.
Well, listen, guys, I'm up against a break, but we're discussing Louisiana and the ripple effect that is destined to happen, particularly in the South, and the erosion of representation of people of color, particularly Black political power. You could look to states like South Carolina, the whip, Jim Clyburn, who's the long-standing wolf, who single-handedly played a pivotal role in the decision to uplift a Joe Biden, right? So you can look to Tennessee and the Tennesseans and how they're standing tall. You can look to Florida and Ohio, battleground state. There's an election today to set the primary for what happens in November. Ultimately, this is real. And who's on the live line with us is Rob Weiner, and we're going to discuss this case and the absolute gutting, pretty much a shell that is left. And this 6-3 ruling of the conservative justices and where we stand today. When we return, I'll take your calls and more.
More from Cleopatra coming up next on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Smart conversations from smart people makes us smarter. And that's exactly what you get on Bound and Moving with Ms. Williams. This isn't surface level talk. This is where authors become experts, where books become blueprints, and where ideas are challenged, not just discussed. Colin Woodard on Nations Park, to Lori J. Brown Marshall, breaking down the history of protests in America, to Gary Tyler, sharing a story of resilience and redemption and stitching people. These are not interviews. These are conversations that matter. Because every book has a story, and every story has a deeper meaning. Bound and Woven with Rufus Williams on Bond TV. You can catch us on Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV Plus, the WVON app, and VON.TV.
Ready to fire up your taste buds, Chicago? Black-owned Koto Hibachi serves fresh, authentic hibachi and sushi, served with a smile. Grab takeout, order delivery, or dine in casual style. No flaming show, just flavor that steals the spotlight. And hey, tell them WVON is your favorite radio station and get 10% off your order. Visit them at 258 West 31st Street. Open Tuesday through Thursday, 11 to 8. Friday and Saturday till 9. Sundays till 7. And don't forget, tell them WVON is your favorite radio station and get 10% off your order. Koto Hibachi, where flavor meets culture.
Business moves fast. Orders roll in. Deadlines close in. You ship with USPS Ground Advantage. You can keep up with confidence. Every package stays in our secure network from top to door. And with nationwide reach, dependable tracking, and upfront affordable pricing, you get built-in peace of mind. You run the business. We run the routes. Visit USPS.com/groundadvantage to learn more.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe even 40, and may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-444-2013. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you, even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-444-2013. We'll make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-444-2013. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou is like you. He's on next. Call 800-444-2013 or biglou.com.
Have you checked out WVON's digital streaming network, Bond TV? It's everywhere on Roku, Apple TV Plus, Amazon Fire, on the WVON app, and at VON.TV. Bond TV. It's cultural content on purpose.
WVON traffic and weather now.
No major changes in your travel times, but we are tracking a new accident along DuSable Lakeshore Drive northbound right at Soldier Field. You want to avoid that area if all possible. Taking a look at our weather, temperature topping out in the low 60s. 62 is our high today. We're up to 53 at Midway, 53 in Madison, and 53 here at the Talk of Chicago. traffic and weather now. I'm in it for Lonely on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
And now back to the Cleopatra Show on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
And we are back. Listen, guys, we're discussing what is happening in Louisiana. Could it happen in a state near you? Absolutely. On the live line is Rob Weiner. He's a director of the Lawyers Committee's Voting Rights Project and the erosion of Black political power in the South. And my posture is this: Black Americans potentially are in a worse position than we were when post-Reconstruction, after the Civil War, in terms of our stance in the event that we do nothing. But that is not the case. So, Rob, can you expound upon the efforts? Because I saw the ACLU going to work. I've seen a lot of litigations that have manifested and erupted as a result of the Supreme Court justices. But what does that mean? And what would that look like?
Well, the Supreme Court did not repeal Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act. And much as they may want to try, they can't repeal the civil rights provisions of the Constitution. And so what they said was that to make a civil rights claim under Section 2, you have to show that there was an intent to discriminate. And that's not what Section 2 says. It says it really was that there was an effect of the state action that harmed Black people and other people of color. So we can still make these claims about intent to discriminate, about state changes to their districts and other election changes that intend to harm people of color. And it's hard. It's really hard to make those claims. But we're not going to stop trying. We're going to bring claims wherever we can develop the evidence that there is an intention to disadvantage Black people. The court actually made it even harder than that. They said, well, if it could be partisanship, if they could just be seeking an electoral advantage for one party or another, really, they were Republicans, because that's what we're talking about here. That's not a violation. You have to show that it's not partisanship. You have to rule that out, and that makes it even harder. But people don't say, legislators don't say, we want to discriminate against Black people. They make it harder to flesh that out. But we've done it before, and we'll do it again, and get that evidence and do what we can to pursue these cases. We're not going to sit back and let it happen. We're going to fight and continue fighting to protect the rights of people of color in this country.
No, and I appreciate your effort. So what can we do? Those of us that are listening, we're clearly in Illinois, but we understand that this is going to be a ripple effect across the country. How can we support?
Well, first of all, vote. I know Illinois is a state, is a Democratic state, but still, it's important that you check your voter registration and that you vote. And learn the rules for mail-in voting, because if you can mail in your ballot, then you can't, whatever intimidation happens at the polls. If there's ICE agents or other people at the polls, if you've mailed in your ballot, you've avoided that. And so you should check out the rules. But if you mail in your ballot, do it way in advance, because the court may restrict when the state can receive your ballot. So make sure you leave plenty of time and get your vote in, because that's the only way that we can have a voice. And if you're facing barriers or confusion or intimidation, call our hotline, 866 our vote, who you are, VOTE, and somebody will be on to help you deal with that problem.
Well, I thank you for stopping by the Cleopatra Show. And listen, guys, when we come back, Pam, Donald, I see you on the live line. You don't want to miss this. Ooh,
Hazy and 54 degrees, going up to 62 on this Tuesday, May 5th, 2026. I'm Annette Flournoy, and in the headlines, Chicago police are looking for a missing 12-year-old boy last seen in the Gage Park neighborhood Sunday. While more than 100 union workers at Brookfield Zoo are on the picket line today, zoo officials say the park is open for visitors and that the animals are receiving proper care and wellness. And the first visitors at the Oahu Presidential Library, they were treated to a preview and an invite-only tour of the inside of the building. National news from the Black Information Network is next on the Voice of a Nation at the Talk of Chicago, 1690 AM, WVON, Berwyn, Chicago. It's 11:01.
Here's BIN News Now. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy is blaming the Biden administration for Spirit Airlines shutting down.
Spirit not trying to merge with JetBlue. The Joe Biden people, the Judge administration, and DOJ tanked that deal.
On ABC's This Week, Duffy praised other airlines for helping stranded passengers and said Spirit employees now have priority access to apply for new airline jobs. A Black Richmond, Virginia mother is recovering after surviving a domestic shooting that killed her 2 children. Police say Tiffany Terry's boyfriend opened fire inside their home, killing 18-year-old Zion and 14-year-old Sadie. The suspect is now in custody. And Janet Jackson will make a special appearance at this week's Grammy Hall of Fame Gala. Her album, Rhythm Nation 1814, is being inducted with performances by George Clinton, the Wilson Sisters Apart, and Teddy Swims. The 8th in LA. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app. Here's Esther Dillard.
Thanks, Bree. It's Tuesday, May 5th. I'm Esther Dillard. New York City's Mayor Zohran Mamdani announced high-speed broadband is coming to the South Bronx and Upper Manhattan neighborhoods free of charge this summer.
It will provide 2,200 apartments across 39 buildings of affordable housing with free internet for the next 3 years. And it will go a long way towards expanding digital equity in the Bronx and Upper Manhattan. Right now, we know that 1 in 5 residents of the Bronx lack internet connectivity.
It's a $2 million pilot program spearheaded by the New York Public Library that Mamdani says will help low-income New Yorkers get jobs and find no-cost childcare. Congressman Richie Torres helped secure the money for the project.
Back in 2020, during the depths of COVID, we saw a digital divide, deprive our most vulnerable children of access to an education and our most vulnerable seniors of access to health care. That is why our $2 million appropriation is not an expense, it is an investment in the health, education, and future of the Bronx.
Meantime, the closure of Florida-based Spirit Airlines isn't leaving just thousands of travelers stranded. Thousands of employees are now out of a job. Broward Commissioner Michael Hudine says the county is doing everything it can to help.
ClearSource Broward is doing an emergency job fair later on today. Broward County has one set at Port Everglades in the next couple of weeks, and I think you'll see more of these popping up.
Spirit of David Beach was the largest budget airline operating out of Fort Lauderdale Hollywood International. American and Delta Airlines are offering reduced fares for Spirit customers hit by the sudden closure. A federal appeals court which blocks doctors from sending the abortion pill through the mail has been put on hold. The order was made by Supreme Court Justice Samuel Alito, who set a briefing for this
women's luncheon. The Reverend Al Sharpton announced that they were giving Lewis the Cultural Icon Award for inspiring generations with her activism. One of many messages she shared with the audience was one she gave to Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley.
The lights of our soul will dissipate this hate. The fire in that light will burn this darkness down.
Stay informed, stay connected, and subscribe. Follow BIN News this hour wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Esther Dillard on your home for Black News First, the Black Information Network.
Black men are higher risk for prostate cancer. Talk to your doctor about screenings and know your family is your health, our community, WVO.
Hi, I'm Lori Smith, host of Meeting the Moment. WVON, in partnership with the Chicago Community Trust, developed Meeting the Moment to amplify the voices of nonprofits across Chicagoland, giving them the communication tools they need to expand their reach and turn awareness into action. Right now, our communities are facing real challenges, from economic uncertainty to public safety to access and equity. But in the middle of it all, there are organizations doing the work quietly, faithfully, powerfully. With Meeting the Moment, we'll have honest conversations about the issues shaping our region and, more importantly, the solutions happening on the ground. And each week, we'll feature a Chicagoland nonprofit making a difference. You'll hear their story and find out how you can support their work. Because Meeting the Moment is about more than just awareness. It's about impact. Join the Meeting the Moment movement, a program designed for the doers. For more information, visit WVON.com/Meeting the Moment. Listen every Saturday at 12 noon, right here on WVON 1690, the talk of Chicago. Let's meet the moment together. Powered by the Chicago Community Trust.
This is a story about women. Don't let them fool you otherwise. Steppenwolf Theater presents a wonderful by the Academy Award-winning writer Noreen Terrell Allen Kramer. When a Chicago father is offered a cash settlement for the loss of his child, everyone is entitled to it. What goes to his past, strangers on his porch, and the round audience who develops. The Chicago Sun-Times says Windfall finds the sustaining power of music and family. Windfall is directed by Audio Temple. It's on stage now through May 31st. Tickets at Steppenwolf.org and Steppenwolf.org. The truth is clear. Every weekday morning from 7 to 9, I break down what's really going on. Politics, power, and everything shaping our community. Think of it like your morning news. Headlines, context, and what it actually means. So you can take it in, settle it, and move smarter through your day. If you're part of the room, you already know. And if you're watching on Facebook Live, the comments are a whole other show. Family reunion happening in real time. Listen live on the WVON app. Or join us on Facebook Live. It's the Rufus Williams Show, weekdays 7 to 9, right here on 1690 WVON.
This report is brought to you by True Green. True Green, the easiest way to get golf course quality lawn. Don't wait. Sign up at TrueGreen.com and get your first application for $9.95. True Green, the official lawn care treatment provider of the PGA Tour. Let the pros do the work so you can enjoy your weekend. Restrictions apply. See site for details.
The Chicago Blues Festival is more than a festival. It's a celebration of culture, rhythm, and legacy. We'll see you in Millennium Park June 4th through the 7th. We're WVON.
Live from the Xfinity Studios at WVON, it's the Cleopatra Show on Chicago's essential storyteller, 1690 WVON.
And we are back. The time is 11:09. You're listening to the Cleopatra Show. And I believe this song says, I'll be good. I can't even get my 4-year-old to tell me, I'll be good, mommy. But you damn sure know I'm not going to be good. Now with all of this mayhem. So it's a turbulent Tuesday. Did you buckle up? You think you riding on spirit. Spirit gone. So much is gone. I pull up. I'm driving. I'm driving down Cicero yesterday. I'm a Costco mom. I'm doing my thing, right? And I said, oh, I got to get my baby something from Carter's. The whole damn store was gone. You ever pulled up somewhere and the store is literally gone? That is happening all the time. So when they had time to move, I'm processing in my mind. So I forgo what I thought was going to be a Carter's experience, and I thrust myself into the world of Burlington. Now, in another life, I love to get my Black girl Kornacki on, and I'm an operative, right? And I love data, so I go to the whiteboard. But in another life, let my daddy tell it, I was a window designer. I was going to be a fashion designer, fashionista. So what happens to me in Burlington is I get covered with hives when it comes to the layout, and the terrain is a nightmare. It's like a safari hunt for me in Burlington. I'm just giving you a window to my world of organized chaos and then catastrophe. So I'm on a hunt and a prowl against those that are thinking they're shopping for bargains. I'm just in Am Street of, oh my God, what is happening to the world of shopping? What used to be, I know don't make honey. I know. But the whole store was gone. And I said, oh, okay, it's like that. You're just going to force me to shop online. And then I got to buy clothes that I'm constantly trying to take back, and you give me a little window to send it back. And it's just this fight for my money back. Yeah. What is happening? Is that the same kind of chaos that I'm covering today? Absolutely. From the micro level to the macro level of the world in which we live in, being Black while surviving in America. That is the window. I'm going to the phone lines, 773-591-1690. And I'm just interested, for those that are calling, I do want you to answer the question. And the question of the day is, would you pay for mail delivery? I've been discussing the fact that the United States Postal Service is doomed to go belly up. And I'm going to take your calls and more. And then we're going to get to the crossroads of a conversation briefly. I'm going to give a prelude. Today is Cinco de Mayo. And I'm just trying to figure out, do we even care? Especially with the hunting and the activity of the migrants. Because some of you all think that they only come from the brown hemisphere. And I've expounded deeply and profusely how your president feel about the countries that are associated with our descent, our lineage. He's said it. He even admitted to lying about the S-hole countries. And then he said that, no, I said that. She's your president. I'm going to the phone lines. Let's talk to Pam. Pam, talk to me. Welcome to WVON.
Good morning, Cleopatra. Can you hear me?
I can. Good morning, Pam.
Good morning. You put a lot out. First, I want to start with Cleopatra. You once talked about, I guess I'll go to the post office first. I wouldn't be willing to pay for mail, but if I had to, I guess I would have no other choice. But let me say, I utilize the post office, and I also utilize some of their additional services. Every once in a while, I might purchase a money order, but then I've also noticed, Cleopatra, people, P.O. boxes, right? There are people who use those services, so I utilize the post office as much as I can because I know they're under attack. And what we have to realize is that Black people are under attack, and we are at war. It's not hyperbolic when Roland Martin's book talks about white fear. and that we're at war. Joy reads, we are at war. And this administration hates black people, poor people, Latino people, named. And they will do everything to our destruction. So I listened to your guest, who was a little bit too low key, because I think we need to be running on 10 with this. Because if they're stopping elections in Louisiana in the middle of the election, there is no telling what this administration, and I mean the administration under the rapist, the adjudicated rapist, who has allegations from a minor that he raped her, there is no telling what he will do. He is at war with black people. We know that Stephen Miller and Bannon hate black people. This is an agenda of hate. And what's more concerning to me, Cleopatra, is that you have black people who, in essence, voted for him, knew this, and they are helping to support. I promise you, you will have the propagandists come on here and push the propaganda why we don't need the post office and why it should be under the auspices of private entities. Because every message that has come from this administration, you've had the black maggots come on here and push anti-DEI. Oh, yeah, well, DEI didn't help black people. Every negative message that has come our way has been supported. So what I'm asking is this: we are at war. What are our tactics? What is the strategy? We may not be able to discuss it on air, but that needs to be our mentality. And then, where are our allies? Because I see a man who adores Hitler, but I'm not hearing much from the Jewish community like I should. I hear a man who adored Hitler, fascism, dictatorship. I'm not hearing much from our Italian Americans, who their grandfathers and grandparents, great grandparents had to deal with fascism from Mussolini. I'm not hearing from them, Cleopatra. And my question is why? You have quite a few Jewish business people who are wealthy, who are supporting this fascist regime. Why? I'm asking why. That's not anti-Semitic. I want questions why. And
No.
I'm not getting answers.
No, and I agree with you. As always. No, I agree with you. I think a big part of where y'all at, the Civil Rights Act benefited everybody. And yet the attack on Black America, where is anybody? That's Pam's question. I'm with Pam. I think the biggest trick in the bag is at the core of this, it is rooted in racism. Absolutely. But who can afford to be racist are the oligarchs. I need for us to dial back to the conversation with President Morial. And you will hear me discuss who's the puppet and who's the master. The master is the oligarch. The puppet is electoral power. And the racism is so entrenched that, yes, we want electoral power, and it absolutely has to be white-facing. That's the racism. But the goal is the privatization by the oligarchs to build off the backs of working families. They don't give a damn what color you are. So for some of you all that just showed up for the racism and didn't opt to be poor too, you are a part of this. And the calling out of what Pam is saying, where are you in this moment with the attack on the very people that catapulted the movement that your people benefited from? See, my show requires you to think. And we're going to take it up a few other notches on this turbulent Tuesday. And this is not a Spirit flight, because Spirit go bye-bye. But yet we've been bought out by United and Delta. So whatever your preference is, even Southwest making you pay for the bags. See, that is oligarchy style. Think about it. So despite cutting your nose to from your face, you still have to breathe, don't you? And one thing about when Black people win, God damn it, everybody wins. Are you winning now? Because just as much you want to erode Black political power, you might eviscerate your own. And that is what this map is alluding to. This map is saying just as much as it is a toss-up in the Republican way, it may be a wipeout on a Democrat.
That's a look at traffic and weather now. I'm Annette Flurnoy on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
And now back to the Cleopatra Show on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
And we are back. You're listening to the Cleopatra Show. The time is 11:25, and I'm going straight to the phone lines. I want to talk to Donald. Donald, talk to me. Welcome to WVON.
Hey, how you doing, Cleopatra?
I'm on fire. It's Turbulent Tuesday, and I'm buckled up, Buttercup. How are you?
Uh-oh. Let me get my fire extinguisher. So I was doing some math while I was waiting on you to take my call, and I did a Google search, and it shows that it's like 371 packages being delivered every day, and the stamp costs like 78 cents per ounce. So doing the math, that's like over $289 million that's being generated every mail day. You know, I think I look at this situation as a come up, you know, because there will not be a lack of jobs. I look at this as a gain of entrepreneurship, a gain for business. And, you know, for the most part, the only people that will deliver mail in our community are going to be us and the immigrants. So instead of us, you know, looking at this on the downside, let's look towards the positive. Now, as far as going to Louisiana, you know, like I say, I visited Louisiana, and I spent most of my time in New Orleans. And, you know, New Orleans, you know, is a beautiful place in some areas. Even in other areas, you know, it's still a beautiful place. You know, it's a difference in communities quite naturally. They got some amazing architecture, you know, with houses on stilts, things of that nature. But I've seen a lot of similarities from New Orleans and compared to Chicago. And unfortunately, they both are headed by Democrats. So, you know,
No. I was going to let you ride with that one, but the governor is actually Republican, and the similarities are not. Louisiana is ranking 50 of 50 out of the 50 states. It's at the bottom, and it is at the bottom of the ranks of every quality of life issue. And I've been covering this for 2 weeks. And the Democrats do not rule nor govern the lay of the land. In fact, it's only 34 Democrats in the entire state. It's 105 representatives. So we're at the bottom of minority. So the Republican power governs and rules the state of Louisiana.
I got a real quick story. So, like, right on the outskirts of, you know, New Orleans, I visited one of them Subway shops, and I was talking to one of the employees, and, you know, I asked her what her favorite sandwich was. She said she didn't know because she couldn't afford the sandwich. So then I asked her, well, how much do you make? And I could understand why she couldn't afford the sandwich, and also, you know, her having multiple children. But, you know, it's a different place, but there's a lot of similarities down there in terms of Chicago, too. But thanks for taking my call.
Absolutely. Listen, I want to talk to Linnell. Before I talk to Linnell and Lewis, you know, I appreciate when we all call, but we have to be careful about misinformation. This is a portal to the world. WVON is heard around the globe, and I take this role extremely serious. So ultimately, I want us to be very mindful of how we make those comparisons, especially when they're in fact not true, because we see that on the national networks and we cannot acquiesce to that on this station. Too many of us are depending on real information that we can utilize, and it is my responsibility to right the ship. So when we speak about Louisiana, we have to speak with specificity, and the fact of the matter is they're at the bottom of the barrel. And that is in every category of life. And yet and still they got time to show up for the racism. Isn't that about nothing? But that is about fact. And this is where we're at in America. So when we look at our southern states, many of whom are low performing in a lot of categories of life, but for Black folks that are surviving those states, they are the least of these. And to eviscerate their electoral power pretty much imprisons them in that state to be subjected to the weight of racism and systemic and structural racism. And that is the fate of all of us if we allow this to happen. So when we come back, Linnell Lewis, I'm going to take your calls because I have a very special guest. She's a New York best-selling author. You don't want to miss this. As of today, purchase.
Hazy and cooler today with temps remaining in the 60s. I'm in Illinois, and here's what's happening. Chicago police are looking for a missing 12-year-old boy last seen in the Gage Park neighborhood this weekend. Authorities say Cornelius Sanders was last seen Sunday near 51st and Western. He's described as around 5'3", 115 pounds, has brown eyes and black hair, and he's Black. Police say he may be with a 35-year-old man named Cornell Sanders. If you have any information, you're asked to call police. Well, the Trump administration is talking about taking control of the U.S. Postal Service and privatizing it. In an exclusive one-on-one with WVON's Cleopatra Draper this morning, Marc Morial, President and CEO of the National Urban League, says the U.S. Postal Service is a protected entity and exists for the good of all people.
Vital function. And we've got to resist this notion to let some private party hijack it and turn it into a profit-making enterprise and raise the pricing and cut service. The power of the Postal Service is that it provides service to every single resident in the United States.
He also says any talks about privatizing the U.S. Postal Service should not happen without public debate. Meanwhile, the Postmaster General is warning lawmakers that the agency could run out of cash in less than a year unless Congress allows it to borrow more money. Well, more than 100 union workers at Brookfield Zoo, Chicago are on strike. Employees with Teamsters Local 727 walked off the job yesterday morning. Perry Williams has more.
Groundskeeper Carrie Sapienza says the main sticking point is health care coverage.
When asked at the negotiation table, they couldn't provide documentation that secured health care. And we have families, children. We need that health care.
Teamsters Local 727 mentioned that the contract for grounds, custodial, and facilities teams expired on May 1st. Employees who walked out are urging the public not to visit the zoo during the strike. I'm Perry Williams.
The third annual Chicago Public School Champions Celebration was held last night at Malcolm X College. Mayor Brandon Johnson was at the event that honors outstanding students across the Chicago Public Schools for their achievements in a wide range of fields, including STEM, music, chess, and debate. And the very first visitors at the Obama Presidential Library was treated to a preview at an invite-only tour of the inside of the building. Final touches are still being made on the outside. The Obama Center officially opens on Juneteenth. That's a look at our news now on 1690 WVON. Traffic and weather up next. WVON News Time, 11:33.
At WVON, we believe your health is your wealth. That's why in May and June, we're putting wellness front and center because too many of us are putting ourselves last. From heart health to mental wellness, prevention to daily habits, it all counts. In May and June, we'll be sharing important information to help you live healthier lives because your health is more than personal, it's powerful. Join WVON in our commitment to stronger bodies, clearer minds, and a healthier community.
If
you're a healthcare provider or have your own practice and want to reach tens of thousands of WVON motivated listeners, connect with us at info@wvon.com or call 773-247-6200 to invest in an outreach campaign during our health and wellness initiative. Let's do it together. Financial freedom starts with access. Fifth Third Bank is breaking down barriers to banking with tools and programs that help you build credit, save, and grow. Our mission is simple. Empower
Mark,
every Chicagoan to move forward because
it.
economic mobility means opportunity. This is banking
Yeah, that
in
man was
Fifth
lying.
Third
Talking
Bank.
about
Visit
some
53.com to learn more.
yeah.
That's
What is that?
53.com. Fifth Third
For
Bank,
black people, we
National
just breaking
Association,
up stuff.
member FDIC.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, and family history of kidney failure. All three put you at risk for kidney disease. We are at increased risk and should get screened. This is host LaDonna Ray every Tuesday in May at 3:30 p.m. during our health and wellness campaign. The National Kidney Foundation of Illinois will talk with us about kidney health, treatment options, free health screenings, and more. Tune in Tuesdays at 3:30 p.m. and go get screened. Visit kidneymobile.org or call 312-321-1500. That's 312-321-1500.
Hi, I'm Travis Smiley, inviting you to join me weekdays from 6
I'm gonna
p.m.
take
to 9
these two
p.m.
phones
right here
first.
on
Okay.
WVON. We are bringing you a
Yeah.
national perspective
we got
on
it.
all the
Thank you.
happenings in the black
Where's the
community
cover
and,
though?
of course, politics.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
talk
yeah.
radio for us, by us, and this is where America listens.
It's Travis Smiley, weekdays from 6 to 9 p.m. on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
This report is brought to you by Summit Racing. Summit Racing has the parts, tools, and accessories to keep your ride summer road trip ready. You'll find everything for pre-trip maintenance and essentials like emergency roadside kits. Shop summitracing.com and enroll in the rewards program to get more power in every purchase.
WVON traffic and weather now.
If you're headed downtown, know that Randolph Street is shut down between Wagner Drive and Canal. That's due to some bridge maintenance happening until 2 this afternoon, 2:30 this afternoon. Also on the far south side in the Heckwish community, still that accident right at Doty Avenue. Apparently a truck is in the water there. Emergency crews are on the scene. Right now, we're seeing some delays from 130th Street to Doty.
No, is it a comment about the postal service? Is it about the post office?
In the low 60, 62 is our official high.
Put them on.
Low tonight. Still holding on to 55 at O'Hare. It's 55 in Lansing and 55 degrees here.
What they call it for?
That's a look at traffic and weather now. I'm in Illinois on the top of Chicago.
Nope, I'm gonna take these last two calls. Oh, we're back. Hey guys.
Now back to the Cleopatra Show on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
And we are back. The time is 11:37, and I have a special guest. But before we pull her up, I want to wrap up our conversation. I know we've been on this turbulent ride discussing the United States Postal Service and the cataclysmic ramifications erupting out of Louisiana. And the phone lines have been lit ever since. And I'm going to talk to Linnell, then Lois, and then we're going to talk to Dr. Brittney Cooper shortly. Linnell, what's on your mind? Welcome to WVON.
Yes, Cleopatra, I just want to say, I called, I got a lot of things to say, we don't have enough time. But I want to encourage you to keep doing what you're doing. You're doing a great job. And I don't want us to take you for granted. All those that are listening, whatever, let's not take Cleopatra for granted because she's doing a great job. I'd like to ask the question of why can Trump run a third time? I should say administration run a third time. I thought it was 2 times the person.
Oh no, he no, he can't. He, you know what he running from? The upper room. He said it himself. He's more concerned about going to hell. I think he done gave up. He's petitioning the Lord, but I don't know which one. It might be the AI version. Yeah, he can't run. He knows. Absolutely. Good call. And I appreciate the uplift and the protection. It is my village that will continue to uplift me, and I'm grateful for it. Let's talk to Lois. Lois, welcome to WVON.
Good morning, Miss Cleopatra. Okay, about that, the post office. Okay, in 1913, Woodrow Wilson, he segregated the post office.
Yes, it did.
It went from 1913 to about 1940. That's when that war came about over in Europe. From that, a unit was developed. It was called the 6888, and it was an all-black unit, postal women. They went over there and they sorted out that mail that was essential for the morale of the United States and United States Armed Forces over there. What I'm trying to say is that an opportunity came about because of that war. And those women were recognized, where they weren't recognized as far as receiving awards and stuff like that. But the history of Negro history, we recognize them.
Excellent call.
Our women, 688, they went over there and they sorted that out. And what I'm saying is that we have to look at this as maybe an opportunity for development. Maybe we can develop, we can bid on that if they want to privatize it, let them privatize it, and we bid on it and we take it over, because we have proven in the past that we could do it, and I don't see why we can't do it now, because the post office was also a means to the middle class for a long time for the black people.
I love your optimism. I appreciate your call, and I love your spirit. Big ups to the 6888. Those were some fierce, dynamic, brilliant mathematical geniuses that changed the trajectory and played a pivotal role in the outcome of the victory here in America by enhancing the morale. Remember, at the core of anyone's budget is a moral doctrine. Remember that word. Thank you for that call, Lewis, because that call expressly examines the morale in this moment in America, and it is extremely low. So again, Black folk, the assignment is endless. And as Donna Brazil said to us last week, you signed up for the movement, whether you like it or not. Now, turning the page, I have a New York best-selling author with me. Look at her. She done perked up for this one. That's right. Dr. Brittney Cooper is going to join the Cleopatra Show, and I'm so excited to uplift you and celebrate and have you with us. So good morning. How are you?
I'm doing well.
I'm sure you are New York best-selling author. So talk to us about the journey, because although we are always smiling as a people, it ain't been easy. But yet, one thing about it, the life you live will show in your face. So you look blessed, you look happy. So tell us about the journey thus far.
Yes, well, thank you so much for having me. It has not been easy. I am from Louisiana.
Oh, here go another. Listen, y'all. Another. What were you? Louis? We're Illinoisans. How would you all say it?
We say Louisianans.
Louisianans. Yeah. So look at the irony. Another Louisianan. We just had Marc Morial with us to and through. So talk to us about Alpha to Omega at this point. What help us understand what's happening at home.
That's right. So this story that I've written really chronicles, it is inspired by my life growing up as a small town Southern girl in northern Louisiana, which is very far from where Mr. Morial is from down in New Orleans, but still a similar sensibility. And I talk about being, raised by powerful women who taught me what it looked like to have confidence. And there's a way sometimes that Southern folks don't use a lot of fancy language all the time. They would just be like, baby, you fine. Everything is fine. And when folks try to come after you and make you feel like you're less than, you are more than enough. And that is their language for helping us to understand that. And it feels really important in this moment to fortify ourselves, because we are in the height of an extreme political attack on all of the things that, that our ancestors fought for us to have: voting rights, access to good health care, even, property rights, all of these kinds of things. But some of the way that we fortify our young people for the battles girls that are now ahead of them is by helping them to understand that they are enough. And when I was a young person, this is how my people took care of me. We didn't always grow up in schools with books about Black folks and learning Black history. And so you learn that because in my case, my auntie would make sure that I had Black books on my bookshelf. And I want to, do my part now that I have, more access to make sure that this new generation of Black children has some books that speak to their experience. And so that's what Mama Says I'm Fine is all about.
Let me tell you, not only are you pouring in across the country and the world, your book now graces the shelf in the Draper House. And we are very proud of our collection of Black excellence. And I am very humbled to uplift you in this moment because it is folk like you that tell the diaspora story that evolved even on these foreign shores. We think the diaspora was only related to our travel along the ocean and the seas. But yet, even in the state of Louisiana, you and President Morial still had different experiences because of the regions that you are expounding upon, but yet the similarities yet and still with the skin that we're in. And I need for us to hear, because even from Louisiana to Illinois, there are different ways of quality of life for Black Americans. And how I like to educate my audience is surviving while being Black in America. It's a skill set unlike no other. And Mama Says I'm Fine. This is the cover page of a beautiful book that I look forward to sharing with our children. I'm a mom of 3 boys.
Amazing.
And we read all gender related, no matter. Because I think our stories are just so eclectic. And with that being said, surviving while being Black in America, it is important to know that you are just fine and you are made just the way you're supposed to be. And there are places will try to convince big old grown folk, let alone children, otherwise. So talk to us about the initiation and the outcome that you hope that this book will drive.
Yes, so it's exactly that. This is a book for all Black children and Black families, and it's a way to celebrate all the different ways that our families can look. I came up in an era where folks said that if you had a single mama, that your household was broken. But I think that Black families are always successful families if we love on our kids, if we give them what they need to survive, if we set them up to go out into the world and be good and decent people and impactful humans. And whatever family sensibility we have that can do that, then that is not a broken family. And so if you have a family with a mom and a dad and everybody's doing their part, that's amazing. In my case, it was my mom, her sisters, and my grandmother, and they took care of all of us kids and they made sure that we were okay. And I think that one of the ways we take care of our communities is by taking away narratives that are weaponized against us, right? And so however Black parents show up, taking care of their kids, affirming their importance, affirming that they matter, that the things that they're doing are right and good, but also creating boundaries. Sometimes my mama would say, you fine, and we were at the store and I wanted something that wasn't in the budget, And so she got the things that were in the budget that we needed, but maybe there wasn't extra for some of the things that I wanted. And she said, you're fine. And that created a boundary and a way for me to begin to understand the difference between needs and wants. That is also a way of being loving and kind. And sometimes we overpraise each other. We say everything's extraordinary, amazing, fantastic. In a world where folks are taking away our voting rights and assaulting us at every level, things are not amazing, extraordinary, and fantastic. But there is a way that we can make choices every day to take care of ourselves and each other that will help us to be fine. And we need to take the pressure off of ourselves and give ourselves the space to affirm our kids and help them to know that they're all right, even if they're not being amazing, extraordinary, and fantastic on that particular day. They still just fine. They are more than enough. And that's what my mama did for me. And I'm just hoping to bring that very basic, very simple message. It isn't extra, it isn't over the top, but it is the oldest love language I know for how Black mamas love on their children.
Listen, guys, you are hearing from Dr. Brittney Cooper. She's the best-selling New York Times author of several books. but this is the newest. Mama Says I'm Fine. When we come back, we're going to talk to you about your background because there's so much more to you. And where do we go from here? But I want you all to take a moment to see a product that should be in your household, that you should drive to your local schools, that you should have at your church, that you should be gifting to children that we have access to. Because with the effort to ban books in a society that was defined by freedom of speech, what kind of books are they banning? Books that feature folk that look like Dr. Brittney Cooper and I, and you that are listening, if you are with melanated skin. We'll be back after this break.
More from Cleopatra coming up next on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Smart conversations with smart people makes us smarter. And that's exactly what you get on Bound and Woven with Rufus Williams. This isn't surface level talk. This is where authors become experts, where books become blueprints, and where ideas are challenged, not just discussed. From Colin Woodard on Nations Apart, to Lori J. Brown Marshall breaking down the history of protests in America, to Gary Tyler sharing a story of resilience and redemption and stitching. These are not interviews. These are conversations that matter. Because every book has a story, and every story has a deeper meaning. Bound and Woven with Rufus Williams on Bond TV. You can catch us on Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV Plus, the WVON app, and VON.TV. It's clear that kidney disease is taking its toll on us by the number of dialysis centers in our neighborhoods. If you have kidney disease, know your treatment options and the benefits of home dialysis and transplantation. Visit blackcare.com. That's BLACKKARE.com. This health and wellness message is brought to you by the South Suburban Chicago chapter of the Links Incorporated, empowered by Banter. Consider giving the gift of life by becoming a donor today. This is Rufus Williams, and I got something special for you. I am proud to announce that we're launching the Rufus Williams Travel Club in conjunction with Advantage International. Our first trip, we're staying in the United States and heading to one of the most stunning destinations for culture, tourism. Join us October 8th through 12th as we explore the charm, the beauty, and the history of Charleston, South Carolina. This isn't your typical getaway. We'll walk through history and standing where our stories begin, from the roots of Gullah Geechee culture to the International African American Museum, from cobblestone streets to waterfront views. This is more than a trip. It's a cultural vibe. To find out more, visit WVON.com and click the Rufus Williams Travel Club banner and keep listening. The Rufus Williams Travel Club will turn curiosity into understanding. One destination at a time. We are WVON.
You got dreams, so don't let an old cannabis record stand in the way. New Leaf, Illinois offers free legal aid to help you clear old cannabis records and other eligible records. Whether it's a job application, a lease, or just peace of mind, a clean record opens doors. Call 872-NEW-LEAF or visit newleafillinois.org today. New Leaf, Illinois, because your past doesn't define your future.
WVON traffic and weather now.
The ride just moved back up to 20 minutes from 95th Street to downtown, outbound just fine. As you make your way along the Bishop or Tuskegee Airmen Memorial and DuSable Lakeshore Drive, you move along at the closest speed. The inbound Stevenson, now 35 minutes from I-355 to DuSable Drive, outbound just fine. The inbound side of the Eisenhower, a 35-minute trip from Lauderdale to the Burns Circle, pretty much 35 traveling out. And on the Kennedy, 22 minutes in from up here to downtown, getting to the airport. However, a slow-moving 36 minutes. Taking a look at our weather, hazy and mild today. Temperatures topping out in the low 60s. 62 is our official daytime high. Right now, 55 at Midway, 55 at Rainbow Beach, and 55 degrees here at the Talk of Chicago. That's a look at traffic and weather now. I'm in Brittney on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
And now back to the Cleopatra Show on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
And we are back. The time is 11:53. And listen, guys, 65 years, one final sale. Sid's Clothing and Hats is clearing it all out. Hats, caps, accessories, gone. And it is gone because they are giving away some deep discounts. 609 West Roosevelt Road. Give them a call. 312 421 3332. That's 312 421 3332. Get there before it's history. Check out Sid's. But more importantly, Mama Says I'm Fine is on the screen right here. And Dr. Brittney Cooper is hanging out with us. And Dr. Cooper, you know, before I let you go, you have an elongated resume. You are a New York Times best-selling author of several books. You know, you've been on MS Now. You've been around the block. What street you trying to drive up next? What's the goal?
Listen, I'm trying to love on Black people. Now, I have a series of middle grade books that are going to come out beginning next year. So we're going to go to the 12-year-olds and the shenanigans that they're getting into. So right now, we've got 4 to 8-year-olds. We're trying to get Black people in every age group and take care of them and provide messages and good reading material for whatever stage you find yourself in life and you're trying to make sense of this moment. So that's what I'm most excited about.
Well, I definitely look forward to all the amazing work. I get excited when I get to meet authors of the books that I'm pouring into my children, but more importantly, books that I've read throughout the years. So I look forward to, you know, this novel you're going to write for me, honey, of how I'm going to escape this crazily insane asylum we call America. I don't know what we going to pull up, because whatever you do, I'm going to do. I'm going to follow you.
I appreciate you. We're going to be all right. We just got to keep going.
Well, for the folk that are in Louisiana, give them a message. What message do you have?
The message that I have is that we see you, we understand the ways in which you have been gutted, but we know what it means to survive this system. This is not the first time that our people have lived through this. We know what to do, and what we continue to do is we fight back, we organize, we take care of each other. We don't look away. We look closely at what they're doing. We take power at the state and local levels. And we have to remember, Louisiana has 3 major Black cities, New Orleans, Baton Rouge, and Shreveport, where I'm from. Black people do have political power. And what we have to recognize is, while they want us to believe that they have all the power, neither spiritually nor politically do they have it. And so we're going to take our power back. We're going to do that systematically. We're going to pray for the Lord to be on our side as we do it, because the Lord is on the side of the oppressed and is not with these folks who want to take all of the things that our ancestors built and fought for us to have. So stay in the fight, take heart, keep fighting. And one of my favorite phrases that my mama taught me is, if you see a good fight, get in it. So keep the faith.
I like it. It sounds like you just launched your campaign, and I sound like I'm gonna serve as your campaign manager. And I mean that. You just put out the bat signal. I'm coming. Shreveport, you heard her. You heard of New Orleans, but the state of Illinois to Louisiana. Did you hear this Black woman on this platform send up the bat signal? So when you're ready, we stay ready. So we don't have to get ready. That's a good fight. All right, listen, that's Dr. Brittney Cooper. I want you all to check out this amazing, beautiful book where it says, Mama Says I'm Fine. I agree. I tell my sons that every morning. They just laugh at me. They don't know what I'm talking about. Not only are they fine, they're going to be all right. Listen, I thank you for stopping by the Cleopatra Show. And listen, guys, across Chicagoland is filled with friends, fun, and traffic. So skip the stress of gridlock. Hop on board Metro. Get to where you're going quickly, comfortably, and safely. Metro's 95% on-time rate means you'll never be late for moments that matter. And their low fares mean you don't have to break the bank. Plus, with the regional day pass, you can enjoy unlimited rides on Metro, CTA, and Pace for only $2.50 with the purchase of the Metro Day Pass. Purchasing tickets is easy with the Venture app, and you can bring the entire family because children under 11 ride free. Now you can skip traffic, get to where you're going fast, and save more. Stop sitting in never-ending gridlock and paying for expensive parking. You can do more by doing less by getting on board Metro. So I appreciate the opportunity to be with you all as we had a fun time launching Turbulent Tuesday with the Marc Morial, President and CEO of the National Urban League. And more importantly, it's Cinco de Mayo. So I'm sure my colleagues are going to come in with this burst of energy, may or may not, when it comes to Cinco de Mayo. But in the prelude to the latter part of this week, we're going to pull up at the crossroads of Rudi Giuliani, because him knocking at the door of the upper room, because he is in critical condition. And I don't make light of it. But in that upper room knock, have you done all that you can to repent on earth? I think that that's important, to do all that you can to repent on earth. And we'll see if Giuliani has done that, because he had once upon a time a really impressive resume. And it is all for naught. So tomorrow is Fired Up Wednesday, and I'll spill a little tea. I'm coming in piping hot as we talk about ELB. That's right, Eileen O'Neill Burke. I'm still paying attention. You're on my desk. You're on my to-do list. In fact, especially when it comes to wrongfully convicted brothers and sisters whom you've done nothing to help support. How is that possible? But yet and still, you said that you didn't realize that this road was political. You're going to learn today and tomorrow, thus forth, because Black Chicago is paying attention to you. And in fact, across the entire Cook County. We'll be back tomorrow, 9 a.m., only on the Cleopatra Show.
Easy at 55, going up to 62 on this Tuesday, May 5th, 2026. I'm in Illinois, and in the headlines, Arlington Heights police are still searching for a gun gone missing at a school by the school resource officer. Chicago police
done now.
looking
What's
for
up?
a missing 12-year-old boy last seen in the Gage Park neighborhood Sunday.
Look at you, you're the shit.
And while
And
more than 100
Cleopatra at
workers were
WVON.com.
on the picket line today,
So-
officials say that the
So
park is open for visitors and that the animals are receiving
I
proper
just wanted to
care.
make sure I didn't mess up.
National
That's
news from the
not
Black
sick.
Information
I think I'm
Network is
crazy
next.
because I'm working
On the
on
Voice of
no,
the Nation,
no,
the
it's
Chicago,
That's when my house
1690
is quiet.
AM.
exactly. That's something
Chicago.
you gotta
It's
have
12 o'clock.
communication, right?
Mhm.
So I just sent you the tickets to that email. If you look at that, your Cleopatra